man. Freeman wide, Sibbald and Levitt in the middle with Harkes and McGrath supporting Fletcher. For Aberdeen, Horter in goal, McCrory, McDonald, Pollock and McKenzie, Ramadani, Clarkson and Shinnie, Duncan and Duke up there with Miovski. It's the same team that started against Livingston last week. 4 changes for United from the side beaten 4-0 in Dingwall as the game gets underway. Dundee United in the tangerine shirts, black shorts, tangerine socks with the black tops, going right to left as we watch from up high at the back in the main stand and high above Jim Goodwin's dugout down below us. Pretty good conditions, pitch is looking a little bit rutted, but there's barely a breath of wind. It's pretty cold as a bit of smoke from the pyrotechnics blows across the stadium, and it's United shooting towards the empty shed end this evening. Aberdeen in the white shirts with the red pinstripes, black shorts, white socks, their change colours, and it's out of play for a throw into Aberdeen over on the far side to be taken by Jack McKenzie, who bowls it down the far side touchline. Breaks the way of Miovski, who missed a glorious chance at 0-0 here. Could have been a different story back in October as United get it away back into Aberdeen territory. Craig Easton.
Well, if it's going to, you should see a battle today. Dundee United should be fighting for their lives, and Aberdeen, if they've watched anything from last week's game, should be putting Dundee United under massive pressure early in the game, because this is a team really devoid of confidence, devoid of, a real desire at the moment. If Jim Goodwin's come in, all he's looking at doing today is getting his team playing in Aberdeen's final third. I don't think we'll see much, silky football, certainly not in opening 15-20 minutes. If I was him, I'd be getting my team playing in the Aberdeen half, working off second balls and trying to put them under a bit of pressure.
It can be a bit of a frenzied fixture at the best of times, particularly you feel here at Tannadice. Just 5 weeks on from trooping out of Easter Road. His last game in charge of Aberdeen, 6-0 defeat to Hibs, who have kicked on big time since then as Aberdeen come galloping forward with Duke. There's a mistake in the back, Fletcher's in and he's put it wide. It's the goalkeeper who's got the touch onto it though, and he's just absolutely spared the Aberdeen defence there. I'm not sure if it was McDonald or Pollock in the end up, but Fletcher was in, saw the whites in the goalkeeper's eyes, and he's missed his big chance. Willie Miller.
Well, he's got to score, hasn't he? It's an unusual opportunity for him. I think it was Duke that overhit the ball and the tackle came in, and all of a sudden Fletcher finds himself in front of goal with just a goalkeeper to beat, and he couldn't do it. He should have done it. Good save, but it should have been a goal.
Corner, outswinger, Edwards with a header down, claim for handball from the United supporters and from Ryan Edwards, who got his head to the corner. Picked up again on the right hand side by McGrath. Gets the overlapping run. Freeman crosses the ball into the box. It's hit first time by Edwards and Horter holds on. Awkward one for him. It's a little skip off the turf as it reached the Aberdeen goalkeeper on loan from Ajax. But what a good start to proceedings for Dundee United and for Jim Goodwin. But it could, Craig Easton, and probably should have been much better.
That could come back to haunt them, because Dundee United haven't created lots of chances in the last few games. Stephen Fletcher's in 1-1 with the keeper. He's got a bit of time as well. Horter, you've got to say, does well, spreads himself, but you've got to finish that. You have got to be clinical in these situations, and at this time of the season and the situation that you're in, a massive chance, and it might, as I said, it might prove vital come the end of this game.
I wasn't long talking about Miovski's opportunity here in October, and Aberdeen obviously we're under the cosh after that as Leighton Clarkson picks up the other end, gets the ball into the United box for Duke. He's got his back to goal. Levitt with the challenge. Duke forced round the houses towards the byline. Levitt's done well, but Duke's pinched it back off Freeman inside the area. A couple of legs dangling there as Duke came towards the penalty spot. Cleared by Sibbald though. That was a chance for Aberdeen there up the other end, Willie.
It was. I mean, Duke's got a lot of abilities. He get pace. It wasn't his pace on that occasion. It was more his determination just to make something out of a bad situation. They almost did. I think it was Freeman, was it, that gave the ball away?
Yeah.
And you can't take chances like that if you're United at this stage of the game. Surely you've just got to play it simple, cleared your lines. He didn't. The opportunity was there for Duke. Didn't make anything of it, but chances at both ends.
Two of the worst defences in the league going head to head tonight. I know there's changes in the Aberdeen one. The two centre halves are different. Last time they were here, I think they went with the three. No, it wasn't the two. It was Stewart who played centre back with Scales. McCrory was in midfield at the start of the game that night. It's been a big change, but 51 conceded by Aberdeen and 49 Dundee United. It's woeful.
Talk about that little chance there about Freeman, dawdling on the ball and getting his pocket picked. But Charlie Mulgrew's clearance again, like his clearance at the start of the game last week, it went out for the throw-in, but he should have played it up the pitch. And you know, just putting themselves under pressure. That's what happened last week against Ross County. They didn't defend well, they got done down the channels, and you know, just rearing its head again in the early stages of this game.
United with the best chance in the infancy of this one, the Jim Goodwin era. Don't know how long it's going to be, but it almost got up to the perfect start there. Dundee United on a run of 6 successive defeats that cost Liam Fox his job here. And they have turned their attention to Jim Goodwin, their 3rd manager of the season and 10th in the last decade, going back to Jackie McNamara, who'd replaced Peter Houston in the January. Here's Aziz Behich, who scored the first against Aberdeen here in October, driving down the left, level with the penalty spot. It's not the worst ball. Fletcher on the rebound from Harkes, and he's shot off the defender and wide for the corner. He's had 2 bites of the cherry in the early stages of this one.
Excellent ball from Behich. It goes to the back post. Jack McKenzie's clearance is poor. It falls to Stephen Fletcher. He fires it, and that was going in the bottom corner, save for the deflection.
He's had 2 chances. Former Scotland international. He's at the back of the train when I'm at the penalty spot as the corner comes in. It's flicked half away by McDonald, and Shinnie clears. And Aberdeen under the cosh a little bit in the early stages of this one, Willie.
Very much so, but it is. I mean, Behich's cross was absolutely superb, although Mackenzie's got to do much better. He almost just chests it down for Fletcher, and it is, you know, it's Craig says, that's nestling in the back of the net. So fortunate that he managed to just stick his leg out, Mackenzie, and get the deflection on it to put it round the post. 2 big opportunities.
Well, although they've missed them, it's encouraging for the United supporters, that's for sure. Matty Pollock, who's on loan from Watford, was allowed to leave the club because of Ryan Porteous' arrival from Hibs there. And as Clarkson switches it left to right of the centre circle for Angus MacDonald, who finds Ramadani. It's a long ball looking for Duncan. Signed that new deal in the week. Heavy touch, and that's going to go out of play from the Sneer. So he's actually done well to keep it in, but only really to the benefit of Scott McMahon down on the Sneer side. He's done well to win it back. McCrory challenged well by McMahon. Breaks though to Ramadani at the right angle of the United box. They attack the Eddie Thompson stand coming down the hill here. The cross comes in from Duncan. Shinnie with the challenge on the 18-yard line, and it's cleared by Sibbald, who does enough. McDonald with the tackle on Fletcher, and then good battles for it in the midfield there. United end up with it, but it's an Aberdeen free kick, says the referee, who tonight's John Beaton. 7 minutes in, it's as frenetic as it normally is.
Not sure about that as a free kick. 2 teams very lively, Willie. The ball's bouncing about. There's Angus MacDonald trying to put his body in. Fletcher's fighting him for it. You know, it's been great. Shinnie with a challenge at the edge of the box on Sibbald. You know, it's all action in the early stages, which I thought it might be, because both teams are wanting to put each other under pressure and start the game well.
Commitment from both sides, I think.
That's what the fans want to see. Clarkson over this free kick for Aberdeen, a bit level with the edge of the centre circle, right hand side. It's an easy header away by Edwards, the United skipper, and then cleared by Mulgrew into the Aberdeen half, where it will be met by Jack McKenzie under no pressure, and he rolls it back to his goalkeeper. Aberdeen in their worst away form in well over a century. Last away game was at Celtic Park, and that eclipsed defeats on the road record from the 1950s. We're back to 1916-17 season during the First World War. As McDonald looks up at the pitch, it's a long ball towards Duncan. Well read by McMahon, who heads it out for an Aberdeen throw in, levelled 18 on this near side. Goalless here at Tannadice, 8.5 in.
So that's Dundee United's safety net for this game. We've gone to the back 3 with Scott McMahon playing left centre half and Aziz Behich in front of him. If they go the channel, even if it goes over Aziz Behich's head, where it did numerous times last season, caused Dundee United real problems, and Charlie Mulgrew in particular.
It's a great challenge by Shinnie now. Miovski's fresh air at it. Fletcher with the foul, free kick to Aberdeen. It's the 2 number 9s.
I'm not so
Stephen
sure.
Fletcher and Bojan Miovski. Fletcher's got his arms outstretched, and Willie Miller appears to have some sympathy with him.
Well, I'm not so sure it was a free kick, to be honest. I thought, was it Miovski that had the swipe at it with his left foot? I think he just missed the ball completely. And the Shinnie tackle, by the way, was 2 feet. I mean, he got the ball, absolutely, he got the ball, but he's diving in. He is committed, he's a committed player, but I can just see the possibility of this getting out of control and the referee having a difficult night, if it doesn't settle down just a little bit.
I think Majowski's had the shot, Willie, and he's actually kicked Fletcher, who's tried to get in a block, you know, and I think that's what's happened. Like you said, Fletcher's maybe just stood up and stood his ground, and he's kicked into Fletcher.
Jim Goodwin and Lee Sharp down below us are taking some amount of abuse from the Aberdeen fans as Clarkson waits. Of course, it was one of the worst, if not the worst, week in the club's history before they left, as Duke takes the free kick and high over the crossbar from about 30 odd yards, and it stays United 0, Aberdeen 0 on 10 minutes.
Aberdeen have got to test Mark Barragate at every opportunity. He's gone out the team, you know, due to a mistake, and you know, he's made a few of them this season. Jack Newman came in last week, then he's changed in, so Jim Goodwin's went with Mark Barragate. So you've got to put that goalkeeper under pressure at any opportunity. That free kick over the bar, you know, make him make a save, hit it on target.
Barragate hits it long with the goal kick, right footed. Comes all the way through towards McDonald. He gets his head onto it and then hoisted forward into the United half by Pollock. McDonald was caught there, I think, by Ian Harkes, and John Beaton's going to bring it back. It will be a free kick in the end for Aberdeen, whose away form, well, the poor away form was back a fair bit before Jim Goodwin even arrived at the club, and that's been an issue for a couple of Aberdeen managers just now. Things started to go pear-shaped in the latter months of Kerry McInnes. It was really under Stephen Glass and then Jim Goodwin, who only won 2 away league games in his year in charge of Aberdeen, which for a club the size of Aberdeen in this league is far from good enough. There's the long ball from Pollock, found by Duncan, good control, now with McCrory. McCrory goes down, no free kick, and it's out off the Aberdeen number 2 for a United throw-in level with their own 18-yard line on the main stand. Jerry Kerr stand side, 11.5 in, no goals as yet. The Aberdeen fans this evening, they're off to our right, all the way round below us and out to the left in the fair play stand, and way round the corner to our right above the tunnel. There's a header there from McGrath, breaks into the middle of the park midway inside his own half. United get it away through Mulgrew, Pollock forward, and then the header from McMahon comes off Fletcher's head and out for a throw-in on this near side to Aberdeen. 12 in, 0-0, United with 2 really good opportunities in the early stages of the game, particularly the first for Stephen Fletcher, but it remains nothing each.
I'm in between thoughts. They'll want it to calm down and see some football being played, or they'll just want it to carry on like this. I'm not too sure, but you would think at some point it has to just settle down perhaps a little bit, because there's commitment out there, there's players just, you know, flying into challenges, you know, everything is fought for. It's probably what you should be looking for from both sides all the time, and they haven't had that from either side so far this season.
I think what you'll see, Willie, is little bits of football in the final third. I don't think any team is wanting to give anyone a chance, give anybody an opportunity, and they've been caught at times, Dundee United at the back. I've seen Aberdeen try to play out as well, maybe overplay sometimes. So I think in this game, you know, until it settles down a wee bit, you're not going to see too much in this middle area. There's not going to be any chances taken, and I can understand that, especially from Dundee United's point of view with the position they're in.
Wins earlier in the Premiership this afternoon for Hearts, for Hibs, for Rangers, for Motherwell. Tomorrow at St Mirren against Celtic. And this 6 o'clock kickoff, 0-0, not much between them right now, though, as I say, United looking the more dangerous in those early exchanges. It's settled down as far as the final third's concerned, just in the last 5 minutes or so, as it goes out for another United throw-in with Aziz Behich midway inside Aberdeen territory on this left flank. United attack that goal to the left. It's Behich. Since he scored against Aberdeen, of course, he starred at the World Cup finals in Australia. He finds McGrath, runs forward, and then blocked by McCrory's clearance straight to Behich, gets the cross in, and the header from Harkes was met well enough, but it was well wide of that left-hand post, and it stays United 0, Aberdeen 0.
That's a big boost for Dundee United tonight. Ian Hart's coming back from that hamstring injury. He's one that he's playing a sort of advanced midfield role. He's going to get in the box. That header, he just, you know, it was a good cross, but you just couldn't direct it on target. That's a really big boost, him coming back, because he gives Dundee United legs. He wins second balls, he's honest, and he gets round about the box.
Scored a winner against Aberdeen as well, Ian Harkes. I think it was that controversial game when Funso Ojo and Callum Butcher were both sent off last season, over a year ago now, a year and a half ago. Long ball from Ryan Edwards all the way through to the edge of the Aberdeen box. McCrory wins the header. Awkward bounce for Clarkson. Not awkward for Fletcher, who takes over and finds McGrath. Steers it out to BH on this near side. Infield to Levitt. Back out to this left-hand side for McMahon. His cross comes in. Headed away by McDonald. Picked up by Duke, who'll now drive forward down the left as he loves to do. Up towards halfway. Sibbald with a challenge. Did Duke get the ball away from Sibbald before the tackle? Or did it come off Duke and go out for a United throw? It looks as though the throw-in has been given for Dundee United on the far side. Craig Sibbald having a word with John Beaton, perhaps didn't like the way Duke went down there, and there's a few who have had protests of that ilk this season. 15-0 each year in the city of Discovery.
I don't know if he can complain that much about Duke on that occasion, because he went in to the challenge. Sibbald, they won the ball. Looked to me as though he'd won the ball, and Duke goes down. These things happen in a game of football, but there's no harm in pointing out to the referee that he does go down easily, whether you think he has or not.
Well, are you a wee bit worried about how many balls are coming in from this left-hand side for Dundee United? As he's BH, he's whipping balls in. Scott McMahon whipped one in, and it's causing him a bit of problem.
Well, you've got to, I think, ask Duncan to do a little bit more back to back. He's a young player, he's inexperienced, but he still must take responsibility there. And
it's kind of leaving Ross
2v1,
a 2v1, especially because McGrath is pushing in there, so he's getting caught between.
It's a good challenge by Sibbald in the midfield, and Ramadani, just as it looks as though Aberdeen were going to be able to forge an attack. McGrath does well in the midfield as well. Now it's with Freeman, rolls it into the D of the Aberdeen box for Fletcher. It's a really poor touch from Stephen Fletcher, and Baich is in loads of space to his left. If he's able to get it out of his feet, Aberdeen get it clear.
Comes from a great tackle in the middle of the park from Craig Sibbald, who, by the way, probably was the only one last week that you would have maybe given some pass marks to at Ross County. He worked his tail off. Things didn't always come off for him, but you always know what you're going to get out of Craig Sibbald, and that's why Ian Hart's is in this team. It's important. You know what you're going to get out of these players, and I think that's what Jim Goodwin's looking for in this first starting 11. He's put a few bodies in there, and he's thinking, give me 100%.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Craig Sibbald since he was a youngster at Falkirk, as Harks takes over on that right hand side. He's been out for a month. He's timed his return well. Short ball to Levitt. It remains goalless here at Tannadice. It's United with Sibbald right to left of the circle for McMahon, holding off Miovski. Now McMahon driving down the left hand side up against Ramadani, who slides in, and out it goes for a throw in to United down by the corner flag on this near side. You would have to say United look the better team here. 17 minutes in, the league's bottom side, looking to make inroads as we reach the business end of the campaign, and it's been an encouraging performance from them so far when you consider how desperate they were in Dingwall last week. And they're looking to try and cut into the lead that Kilmarnock currently have on them, albeit they do have those games in hand, including this one, and then against Livingston in midweek. BH works it off Duncan and out for another United throw, in this time about level with the Aberdeen 6-yard line down on this near side, the United left. As we approach the 18-minute mark, BH waiting to take the throw, short there to Levitt. Dylan Levitt fires it back to the edge of the centre circle for Edwards, under no pressure, steers it out to the right along the grass to Kieran Freeman. Freeman takes a touch and crosses the ball into the box. Fletcher managed to get there ahead of McDonald. It goes behind for United's third corner of the evening. They're keeping the pressure on here, and it remains 0-0. United knocking on the door though, Willie.
It's a struggle for Aberdeen. They're not coping with the formation, the United formation. There's definitely in the wide areas, the wing backs are getting way too much space. I think if you're Barry Robson down there, you've got to invite your wide players, that's Duke and Duncan, to do a little bit more work.
Out swinging corner coming in on the right hand side. Edwards gets there first again. It breaks to Freeman, his efforts deflected. Leighton Clarkson will prevent what could have been a corner down on this near side. Duke wants it. An ambitious ball coming up from Leighton Clarkson. He's got it all wrong, it's come off. Sibbald's broken kindly for Hearts, driving to the edge of the Aberdeen box. Jinks on to the right, pokes it to the right of the penalty area for Fletcher. Fletcher rolling it back to Freeman. Freeman square to Sibbald, 19 in, 0-0. Craig Sibbald forward to Fletcher on the spin. His efforts blocked by Clarkson, breaks to Freeman, off McKenzie. And back to Freeman over on the far side. He's won another corner off Jack McKenzie. This has been a vastly improved Dundee United performance.
And he's bang on. The shape is much better from Dundee United. That's causing Aberdeen problems. You're needing a lot more out of Duke and Duncan. What you're getting from McGrath and Ian Hartz is different. They're going back the park. They're matching runners. They're defending better. And at this moment in time, Aberdeen aren't doing that.
Here comes the United corner. Jamie McGrath, right-footed, bends it in, outswinger to the box. Edwards gets his head to it. Horter keeps it out, might have hit the bar there, and it's cleared by Leighton Clarkson. Really good header by Edwards. He stretched his neck muscles to get to it. He got decent purchase on it as well, and I think a combination of Horter and his bar has managed to keep it out.
A difficult one for the goalkeeper to deal with, I think, because it was heading. It looked like the top corner. I think the goalkeeper's got his hands on it, but it was an awkward one for him. He wasn't comfortable. He didn't look comfortable. But again, defensively, Edwards, it's too easy for him to get the header in on that occasion, isn't it? And Aberdeen have got to look again, at set pieces again at their two centre backs, because Edwards has surely got to be one that you've marked in the box, and he wasn't on that occasion.
It's with Matty Pollock for Aberdeen, left of the centre circle. The problem for Dundee United and for Jim Goodwin is they haven't scored with these opportunities that they've managed to create. As Duke plays it back to McKenzie and then back into his own half for Pollock. Square ball for Angus MacDonald. And then takes it for a walk up to halfway. Long ball out to that left-hand side, looking for Duke. Underneath it's Freeman, and out for an Aberdeen throw-in. Level with the United 18-yard line. Bit of respite for the Dons' defence. Been under some duress in the last 5 minutes or so. Back to Clarkson, long deep ball in, Duncan heads it down, and it's an awkward one for Edwards. He's able to deal with it though. Bates tries to get it away. Ramadani back into the United box, and it's cleared by McMahon. Aberdeen have it again here with McKenzie, and he goes back the way to Pollock. Short to Clarkson.
That's a goalkeeper lacking confidence, isn't it? I think he should come and take that. Duncan at the back post, he's inside the 6-yard box as well. The goalkeeper just stays on his line.
And I think if Duncan had got more purchase on his header, Dundee United would have been in real trouble.
Fletcher's done well. He's got it into the path of Hartz. Spreads it to the right for McGrath. Hartz continues his run. Freeman goes in the overlap. Now it's Kieran Freeman up against McKenzie. United on the attack again. Infield to Hartz. Back to Freeman. So near the feet of McGrath. Back to Sibbald. Into his own half for Mulgrew, who squares it to the left of the circle for McMahon. Scott McMahon. Infield it comes to Levitt. Of course, these are United players with a lot to prove. Their manager sacked in the wake of that insipid performance last week in the Highlands. Freeman, right hand side, crosses in. Fletcher's header is wide of the left hand post. Another chance for Dundee United. That's Fletcher's third. In fairness to him, it's the most difficult out of the three, and he's actually done well again to clamber above the Aberdeen centre half and get a decent enough touch onto that one, albeit it's off target.
McDonald's tight enough, and Fletcher does well using his body just to get in front of him, half a yard or just about that to get a header and goal. But worrying again for Aberdeen, Willie, that Kieran Freeman's got time to take the ball out his feet and whip a really dangerous ball into the middle of the Aberdeen box.
Well, unfortunately, Duke doesn't want to know about it defensively. He doesn't want to go there and confront the wing back. So, and you'll see that he's not playing wide, he's playing in, he's not interested, doesn't want to go back. He's going back reluctantly, but he's nowhere near Freeman.
Even when he goes back there, Willie, there's no real intensity. It's a jog to press, it's a jog, and he's in the wrong position half the times. He doesn't get any pressure. When it comes back to Freeman, he's got loads of time, take a touch, look up, whip balls in. Same with BH out that side up, as well, because you're asking Duncan to do a wee bit more as well.
8 shots in the game for Dundee United so far, just 1 for Aberdeen. 2 of those United efforts have been on target.
And do you know what, William, United are playing really well at the moment. They're knocking the ball about. It has calmed down. We were talking about it. There is a wee bit of football getting played. Craig Sibbald is ticking things over, and they're finding wee gaps in between Aberdeen.
The possession's not far off being 50-50 as it stands, but it feels as though United have had a lot of the ball, and out it comes to BH in acres of space again. He's got time to cross in, and it's headed away this time by McKenzie. McCrory lets it bounce, eventually heads it away out to this near side where it's collected by McGrath. Wonderful pirouette by McGrath. BH inside the box, plays it off Clarkson, and Dundee United have their latest corner kick. 24 played, it's goalless. But Barry Robson and Steve Agnew down there are going to have to change something.
It's not a phrase that you hear very often, but United are on fire. The way they're playing the game, the sharpness of their passing, the movement, the space that they're finding, the delivery into the box. Fletcher has won just about every ball in the air as well, so it's a really, really good first half so far for United.
Still it's 0-0, but in comes the corner. There's another header from a tangerine shirt, and it's bounced wide off an Aberdeen defender for yet another United corner. This is their 6th of the game.
How many times did Dundee United get the first contact on that? How many times have they had the first header, and even the second one as well?
They're winning a header from the corners.
All
of
the
them.
time.
Yep. All the corners have been won so far by a Dundee United player. And they've got another set piece opportunity from the corner kick on this near side. The United left as they attack the goal to the left. The goalkeeper comes this time and punches it away. Only as far as Freeman though, blasts it into the box. Eventually it's going to go out for a throw into Aberdeen down by the corner flag on this near side. It remains Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0, but it is all United right now as they look to try and eat into that Kilmarnock advantage at the foot of the Premiership. It's as though Duke's come over to take on some instruction. It's the goalkeeper coach he's talking to, Craig Sampson.
I don't know what's going on down there, but Duke's come from the other side of the pitch to have the conversation with Sampson there, so I really don't know who was looking for. I think it was Duke that was looking for some advice. I don't know if he got it or not. Time will tell.
Well, Willie's seen a lot of this. This is a typical Aberdeen away performance so far. This is what they've been like. And this is good from Ramadani, burrowing down the left-hand side. Just outside the United box. This cross takes a touch and goes behind on the 26th minute. Bang on it now for Aberdeen's first corner of the evening here at Tannadice. Nothing each.
Good from Ramadani down that left-hand side. Kieran Freeman maybe just stands him off a wee bit, gets too close. You know, it's good play. He goes by him, drops his shoulder, goes by him. And you know what? Ryan Edwards does well to get out and get the block in. Deflects the ball over the top of his own crossbar.
Aberdeen's first chance to put this shaky Dundee United defence under pressure. Leighton Clarkson will take the corner over on that George Fox stand side. Bends it in, Birgiti comes and gets a little fingertip onto it just to push it away out for a throw-in on this near side for Aberdeen on the reverse side in front of the Tannadice tunnel, close to the corner flag. There was a congested 6-yard box there. The goalkeeper will have been relieved to have been able to even just get the slightest touch on that corner. As BH clears as McCrory couldn't find Duncan from the throw. It's going to come back out to this near side, but Duncan didn't realise that the United defender was going to miss it, and he moved, and BH clears it now for a throw in on this near side for Aberdeen, level with the edge of the D of the United box. Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0. It's McCrory infield to Clarkson. First time ball forwards cleared by the header from Jamie McGrath. Jim Goodwin finally is able to work with again. He tried a couple of times to bringing to Aberdeen last summer as McDonald pushes it into the centre circle for Pollock and out to that left hand side for Jack McKenzie.
Well, we look at the difference. Look at Jimmy McGrath's starting position to help as his BH. Do you know what I mean? Look at where Ian Hart's is. They're playing almost similar formation in terms of the middle of the park. But look at where, you know, Ian Hart's is, and look at McGrath is. They're keeping things in front of them. Whereas Aberdeen, you know, they're just not as compact.
Yeah.
Long ball out to this near side. It's won by the head of McCrory. Infield for Duncan. Knocks it back to Ramadani, forward to McCrory, under pressure. He manages to get the break of the ball from McGrath. Now it's with Ramadani. And Duke and Miovski ahead of him, Shinnie too. He goes back the way to Clarkson though. He's Leighton Clarkson on the turn. He's to go back to halfway for McDonald, and United have everyone behind the ball. And it's on the halfway line with Angus McDonald, forward to Duncan, misunderstanding with Miovski, won back by Levitt. Now it's Sibbald, sweeps it out to Fletcher. First time ball to the edge of the centre circle for Ramadani, gets his head onto it. That was aimed for Fletcher, and it breaks the way of Leighton Clarkson. 28 and a half goalless minutes in at Tannadice Park. But this is the problem for the Dundee United supporters, as they've been on top, they've not managed to take advantage of it. Could easily have scored a couple of times in this match. They scored twice in the closing few minutes. So the last time Aberdeen were here, the first half through BH and Watt. And then a McGrath penalty and a McCrory own goal set the seal on a 4-0 win for the Tangerine half of Dundee. Long ball by Pollock. Duncan's in behind the defence, gets his head to it, but Birighitti will claim ahead of Miovski, and Duncan doesn't realise perhaps how good a chance he had there.
Well, that's twice Duncan's getting at the back post, and twice he's not really done anything with his header. The first one I thought he could have got better connection across the goal. This one I thought he might have actually went for goal, maybe even tried to whip it into that far corner, but it doesn't look like he's confident in his headers at this back post, Willie, because I tell you what, he's been in two excellent positions, and worrying for Dundee United that he's actually been free.
Well, it's wing back and left centre back, isn't it, that you're talking about here? And they've got to be better. They've got to be picking him up, because it is 2v1, but he gets in between both of them, and he should really do better. He is a young developing player. You've got to give him that, on his side, but he's just got to try and steady himself. I'm with you. It's take the goalkeeper on.
Positive,
take the goal on.
Here's Ian Harkes up the other end, doesn't really catch it, and he's annoyed with himself as he puts it well wide of the left-hand post. Low effort, and that's going to be a goal kick to Aberdeen. But when you've got a defence, and the Aberdeen defence has been shaky all season as well, we know that, but when you've got a defence and a goalkeeper, and Birighitti, as you said earlier, Craig, he was dropped for a young Newman last week, his confidence must be at an all-time low, and Aberdeen haven't tested him once tonight, not from a shot anyway.
No, I mean, they put a corner right on top of them. They actually did pretty well with it. He helped it on. He's not taking any chances with coming and catching anything. He does well. It's a good decision to help it on. But yeah, no shots really on target. As I say, the header wasn't really on target there from Duncan. They need to test him more, because Dundee United are vulnerable at the moment. Listen, they started this game at a really high tempo, and you would think they would. New manager and all.
Yeah, well, it's certainly been a bounce as far as the performance is concerned for United. Craig Sibbald's come over. I think he must have taken a head knock.
Bit of blood there, I think.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they're just checking to see if they have to do the concussion test, and Craig Sibbald did. I didn't see it, didn't see what went on, but the referee was concerned enough to send Sibbald over to the touchline. He's been taken off the pitch, so United are down to 10 temporarily. But they might be forced into a change here. As Craig mentioned earlier, he's been playing well.
Anybody. I think you're right. It is potentially the doctor, testing him out for a head knock, definitely, or maybe a concussion test. Yeah.
Well, that can go on for a little while. So Aberdeen have a man advantage. United will hope that they can capitalise on that. 32 minutes almost on the clock. And Jim Goodwin coming over to make sure Sibbald's okay. He's going to come back onto the pitch here in the fourth official. Craig Napier, who was making headlines last night at Douglas Park. That red card, which saw our Arbroath reduced to 10, and Dick Campbell, I think it set the seal on his evening. He ended up in the stand, a red of his own, as the throw-in's taken. So Sibbald's back on, he must be okay. Challenging and winning it back off Shinnie. It's his first act upon returning to the pitch. 32 and 0-0. It's Freeman out to Harkes, pushing it back there to Sibbald. And we're delighted he's able to continue.
He's been pivotal to a lot of Dundee United's good work in that midfield. He's won second balls, he's kept the ball moving really sharply. He's been one of the better players this half.
Levitt to McMahon, midway inside Aberdeen territory here. Good challenge by Duncan, did brilliantly there. Looks up ahead of him, his pass was off the back of Levitt, but it breaks Miovski's way. He's been on the periphery of the evening so far, Bojan Miovski. Big switch out towards Duke, he's inside the area. United think he was offside. This will play on as Duke plays it off the defender and behind for the corner. No offside, so there's an Aberdeen corner as they try and turn the tide in this game, albeit nothing each. It's been United who have been the better side. 12 minutes from the interval.
And that's Dundee United's own doing, Willie. They've got Scott McMahon, a left centre half, trying to dribble over the halfway line with the ball. It's not his game. You've got to keep things simple, and then Aberdeen go and break, and now they've got a corner.
No, absolutely. Just play the pass, I think, as far as McMahon's concerned. That's all they had to do.
In comes the corner, headed away by Fletcher, back in by Duncan, and then Mulgrew and Fletcher collide, the two veterans, and it goes out of play for an Aberdeen throw-in on this near side.
But at least you're seeing, you've got two Dundee United players going for that ball. Last week you were lucky if you saw one. So, you know what I mean? That is what they've got to show. it's been about time, really.
Too late for Liam Fox, though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Too late for him.
I know, too late for Liam Fox, but you turn up today.
There's McCrory, the edge of the box. He shoots, blocked well by a sliding Jamie McGrath. Pollock gets a touch onto it, and it goes out for a throw into United. I think Pollock claiming it came off Kieran Freeman. It's going to be a United throw on the far side. That Aberdeen away statistic laid bare 6 wins in their last 43 away league games.
Yeah, it's not been good enough. We all know that. Jim Goodwin tried to say it was all about a week. It wasn't about a week. It was about much more than that. And in particular, on the negative side, the away form, the home form's been pretty good. I've enjoyed watching Aberdeen at home, and they've scored quite a number of goals too. But away from home, not good enough. And tonight, not good enough. I mean, United have dominated the game. Aberdeen have had no control over it. They've lost the midfield battle. The two wide midfield players don't know what their job should be. Out of possession, they need to be better, and they're not. You haven't had Duke into the game at all yet.
He's not in the game at all.
Not in the game at all.
There's McCrory for Aberdeen down this near side. On the turn against McGrath, moves it to the edge of the box, cleared by McMahon. The challenge on Duncan, breaks back to Clarkson, and it goes diving headed away by the United skipper Edwards, and picked up by Sibbald, who finds McGrath, who knocks it back to the edge of his own box. The left angle there for Scott McMahon, who thunders it clear. Underneath it is Angus MacDonald. Forward it comes towards Graham Shinnie. Shinnie couldn't get away from Charlie Mulgrew though. The header from Ramadani will break Miovski's way on the near side. Mulgrew comes to meet him. Miovski over on the touchline. Gets it to Duncan inside the box. Duncan taking on his man. Scott McMahon's done brilliantly there. Gets it away. Clarkson to Miovski though. Aberdeen still sniffing around the United box. Miovski back to Leighton Clarkson, into the area he goes, and then he overcooks it straight to McGrath, and now United will come away on a counter with Levitt knocking it out to Harks over on the right. It's a long ball for Stephen Fletcher. He's in between the two centre backs. Horter comes out, catches him, wins the ball though, wins the ball. That's the crucial point of that one. And then the Aberdeen keeper has put it out, and John Beaton's actually signalled to say, I think they're going to have a little look at this.
They will have to.
Yeah.
They will have to. He maybe won the ball, Liam, but I'll tell you what, his studs were up round about chest height.
I think Fletcher offside though.
It might have been, but all I'm saying is that the goalkeeper, I thought it was rather dangerous the way he approached it. He did win it, there's no doubt about that, but we've seen fouls and ordering off being given for high feet, and definitely Horter's foot was high. But I don't think anything's coming of it.
Do you know what? This looked really similar to the one when Stephen Fletcher against Craig Gordon, the Hearts side, and I saw Stephen Fletcher stop there.
It's offside.
I think it's a moot point, but Stephen Fletcher actually stops there. And I don't know if that's in his head from what happened with the Craig Gordon incident, because if Fletcher had gone in there, and obviously, listen, it's offside, I think he or the goalkeeper could have been hurt, and I don't know if there's something in the back of his mind there, because he's a full-bodied player, Stephen Fletcher. He wouldn't usually pull out of that one.
Okay, he's offside, but how easy was it for him to get between the centre backs onto the ball there, or almost onto the ball? So the pass from Baich goes behind for a goal kick.
How's Aberdeen going to change this? Can they go to a standard 4-4-2, because it's not working with Duncan advanced, it's not working with Duke advanced. How can he be a little bit tighter? How can he get a wee bit more control of this game?
You can't play Duke off Miovski, but then what do you do with Duncan, and who plays wide on the left hand side? They don't really have the personnel to go three at the back and match up. They would have to change personnel. That's my opinion on it, because McCrory could go in there and be one of the three, but down the right hand side, you're then asked Duncan to be the wing back on the right hand side. I think that's a big ask for the youngster.
Throwing for Aberdeen up the pitch here, level with the United 18. Shinnie takes over on that far side to Clarkson, back to Shinnie, back to Clarkson, in comes the cross. Miovski's in behind the defence, but it bounces off his heel and Mulgrew clears. Not too dissimilar to what happened here in October for Miovski. Obviously not as good an opportunity, and it kind of clipped off his heel that night as well, and he was in behind.
Dundee United are not dealing very well with that ball from the Aberdeen left.
Shinnie's done well to find Ramadani, right hand side of the box. He wins the corner. Better from the Dons now, all of a sudden. 38.5 on the clock at 0-0.
They're really struggling with that one. Jack McKenzie takes it inside on his right foot, and he's put 2 or maybe 3 magnificent balls into that back area. Dundee United are not dealing with that. They've got a wee bit of communication problem between Mulgrew, McMahon and obviously Baich. you know, Miofsky's got to do better, Willie, hasn't he?
Big chance, big chance. You know, if he gets a better touch on it, if he controls it better,
or even first time.
He's beaten the line, that's for sure.
Clarkson takes the corner. There's a header away. It's going to come back out to Clarkson on this near side, level with the penalty spot. Little ball in towards the near post. It's headed behind by McGrath for another Aberdeen corner. 6 from the break, nothing each.
It was almost like Miofsky wasn't expecting it to reach him. You know, it was travelling a fair distance. It was always, obviously, I think he was thinking, well, Grew might have got ahead to it when it came to him. You know, just maybe his touch was a wee bit behind him.
Duncan over this corner this time. In swinger with the left. Loads of players around the near post and on the goal line as it comes in. Birighitti spills it, but he flops down onto it on the follow-up. And that's an important follow-up too from Mark Birighitti, because if he loses that in Aberdeen score when United have been on top, how much lower can he plumb the depths? It stays nothing each at Tannadice.
Yeah, I mean, at the second attempt, I don't think what he's trying to do with both his hands, surely you either catch the ball, you've got confidence in catching it, you don't parry it down like that, or you punch it. I would have said on that occasion, just punch it. If he's not that confident, I think he's a goalkeeper that's lacking in confidence.
Yes.
And if you're lacking in confidence, then you just punch it rather than try to catch it.
Palm it down into an area of maybe 3-4 bodies.
Exactly.
And, you know what, it does well smothering it, but you're taking a big risk.
It is Dundee United coming forward this time, but it's won by McDonald, who clears for Aberdeen. Mulgrew from inside his own half sends it forward down that right hand side again, where McKenzie meets it and clears it, and it breaks to Freeman, keeps it in play on the far side around about the halfway line, fires it forward, and then it bounces off Sybil and out for an Aberdeen throw-in on the far side. I mentioned those 6 away wins out of 43 in league games away from Pittodrie, which dates back to the final months of Derek McInnes. 3 of those 6 wins have been at McDermott Park against St Johnstone, 2 of them at Livingston. The only other place they've won was Fir Park. It was earlier this season. They won 2-1. They haven't even scored a goal at Tannadice since 2016, when Simon Church got the only goal in the game in what was their last win here, albeit Dundee United had 4 seasons in the doldrums during that period, but since they came back up, they have kept clean sheets against Aberdeen every time. It goes out for a United throw-in on this near side.
The answer to match up is, of course, he could bring Scales on and play Scales and you know, put McKenzie that little bit further forward as well, that takes care, you know, Freeman down that side. So I think from, you know, personnel situation, then that would be what to do, and then play Duke off of Miofsky.
I was going to say, the problem is you don't want to take Duke off because you know what you can do in a game, even when he's not been in it. But Ryan Duncan as well has been excellent, hasn't he?
He has been, but sometimes you've got to sacrifice, you know, someone that has done well enough for the sake of the team.
And at the moment, you know, in the game, you've got to play this game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Here's McCrory on the near side. 3 minutes from the break. 0-0. McDonald chips it down the line for Duncan. Challenged here on this near side by McMahon, who claims he was fouled, and the assistant on the near side agrees. He waves his flag and John Beaton blows his whistle, and Dundee United have a free kick down on this near side, deep inside their own half. Mark Birighitti going to take it. Earlier on in the Premiership, 3-0 Hearts it was at home to St Johnstone, 4-1 Hibs coming from behind to beat Livingston. It was 3-1 Rangers at Ibrox against Kilmarnock, and Motherwell with an excellent 2-0 victory at 10-man Ross County in Dingwall. It remains goalless here. Big win for Queen's Park in the Championship as well.
There's a big difference. Mark Birighitti kicks the ball.
I'm saying big win for Queen's Park. They were 2-0 up, finished 2-8 against Morton. That's what happens when you leave the car with listen to the radio and then you come up here. Yeah, 2-2 it was.
I'm just saying that's a big difference for Dundee United today. Mark Birighitti kicks it long. Stephen Fletcher wins a header. I think it's Jamie McGrath. Then Ian Hart's get on the second ball, and the third ball. You know, last week against Ross County, when it was going up to Fletcher, he had no support. There was nothing round about. There was no desire to go and win that second ball and scrap and get on to anything. Ross County were the better at that last week, but this, you know, today Dundee United have done the basics much better.
It was a good afternoon for Dundee and Partick Thistle, who've made inroads on Queen's Park's lead at the top, which is down to 2 points. Here in the Premiership at Tannadice, it remains 0-0, and it's Dundee United with Freeman with the cross, headed away by McDonald, only as far as Levitt, pokes it to McMahon midway inside Aberdeen territory, out to this near side for Beach. Down the left-hand side for McGrath, pushed by Ramadani, but the referee's happy enough with it as it comes off McGrath last. And behind for a goal kick, McGrath's not complaining. And it stays Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0. We are hurtling ever closer to the interval here. 44 minutes played. We'll probably see a bit of time added on for that Craig Sibbald head knock earlier on. But Jim Goodwin's got to be completely satisfied with the team's performance. The problem is they haven't scored, and Stephen Fletcher in particular, with that tone-setting opportunity in the opening couple of minutes, will know of that himself.
No, absolutely, but he will be happy at half-time, there's no doubt about that, Jim Goodwin, because his team are playing well. They've been by far the better side tonight. They haven't taken their opportunities, absolutely, and it might come back to haunt them, as Craig has said, but at the same time it's been a first-class performance, in my opinion, from the home side.
There's Jack McKenzie driving down the left-hand side. He's done well into the final minute of the regulation 45 here. Graham Shinney switching the play to McCrory. He controls, surveys what's ahead of him. I hear 2 minutes will be getting added on at the end. Craig Napier's got the board down below us, and we'll confirm that in the next few seconds as it's shifted to Ramadani on this near side. Out to McCrory. So we're into the first of those 2 minutes here at Tannadice Park, and it is Ramadani on the halfway line to McCrory, and back tail by Ramadani, who switches it right to left of the circle for Matty Pollock. Pollock then flicks it towards Shinney, but he wasn't expecting it. Levitt read it well, and it breaks back the way of Pollock, who's managed to drive away from a couple of challenges up to the edge of the area. He's chopped down at the edge of the box by Edwards, and John Beaton's given Aberdeen a free kick at the left of the D of the Dundee United box. Now that initially came from a Matty Pollock mistake. It broke back to him fortuitously, and he went on this driving run to the edge of the United area.
William, I was just about to say, look at Dundee United's shape. It's really good. They're frustrating Aberdeen in possession. They've got a 5-4-1. It's hard to break them down, and then Matty Pollock breaks him down by, like you said, a bit of ricochet off someone. He driving through, big centre half driving Willie, and then he gets to the edge of the box, and Ryan Edwards maybe just catches him at the edge, and he might have got some of the ball, and that's what he was complaining at. But he did look like he took a lot of the man as well.
Sometimes it just happens, it just appears, doesn't it, out of nowhere, where you're feeling, I've made a mess of this, I've made a mess of this, but somehow at the end of the day you come out the hero at the end of it, and it's exactly what young Pollock did on that occasion. And if they score from here, he's an even bigger hero.
Well, it's Clarkson and Duncan over it. Clarkson looks like he's going to take it right footed off the wall. It bounces and it breaks back into the centre circle for McKenzie. Curls it out to this near side. Pollock gets his head onto it, might break back to him, nods it into the area. Duncan look for the break of the ball. Still it's Duncan. The Aberdeen fans howl for handball against Mulgrew. In comes the cross, headed away by Edwards. It's Aberdeen doing the pressing right at the end of the first half here. United have got it away, and it's Ian Harkes who flashes it out to the impressive Sibbald on that right hand side, driving away from Duke down that right hand flank as Duke slides in and puts it out for a throw in, and that should be that for the first half. Indeed it is. It's half time. Jim Goodwin turns and heads back towards the tunnel. He'll be very pleased. He's only been working with this group of players for a couple of days, but he's obviously done something, because this is so far removed from the Dundee United team that took to the field in Dingwall last week, and it's untrue. They've been absolutely terrific. From the first couple of minutes of the game, Stephen Fletcher found himself one-on-one with Jay Horter, who did well, but Fletcher should have scored. It comes off the keeper and goes behind for the corner. Need another chance as well just a few minutes later, which was deflected wide off a defender this time. Ryan Edwards with a header on 20, which Horter scrambled to his back post to get onto. Might even have touched the bar. It looked like it. We've not seen it again, but it was another big chance for Dundee United, and Fletcher headed wide just a few minutes later as well, as United ramped the pressure up. They've been the better team without question. Aberdeen haven't really tested Mark Birighitti, whose confidence must be shot given the season he's had, in particular in recent times. Remember, this Dundee United side has lost its last 6 games in succession. This Aberdeen team has lost its last 9 games away from Pittodrie in succession, and they have been the nervier of the two, despite the fact United's travails see them bottom of the Premiership. But at half-time, it remains Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0.
The Scottish Premiership.
From BBC Radio Scotland. So a much improved performance from the home side this evening. The first game in charge for Jim Goodwin. It remains goalless, so Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0. Tom English with me in the studio. Your thoughts on that first half, Tom?
I thought, as the boys were saying, I think it was a good Dundee United performance. They had a few chances, noted the best one obviously very early on when Stephen Fletcher was through 1-on-1. Should have really scored, a good save from the keeper, but they've had an energy about them and an aggression about them which has been impressive, and a solidity about them actually. So they look decent. They do, as Liam was saying, they do look a far cry from the soft touches that we've been seeing of late. That said, they've had 15, 16 attempts on goal.
15 shots to Aberdeen's 4, 3 on target, none on target for the Dons, 6 corners to the Dons' 4.
Yeah, they'll be frustrated that they haven't scored.
Yeah.
Aberdeen will be relieved because I know they haven't really played that much in that first half. But if it continues to go the way it is, you'd have to fancy United to get one, because they have looked decent, and they should be ahead. Watching the Stephen Fletcher one here again, they really should be ahead.
Yeah, mate, no doubt, Craig Easton, night and day from not just the performance that we saw last weekend in Dingwall, but the attitude, the character being shown by these United players tonight.
It's been excellent. It's everything that you want. But you know what? I'm a bit hesitant, Kenny, in giving them credit, because this should have been happening half a season ago.
Yep.
You know, so I just think this is what it should be every week. I'm like sitting here going, why is Charlie McGrew and Stephen Fletcher going for the same ball and defending? Last week I was looking at the defending, which it was hard to get one man to go for a ball and clear it properly and do his job and run back and sprint and really put anything in. So great, listen, brilliant tonight. I'm giving them all the credit in terms of they've been excellent. They've started in the front foot. They've done all the things that we've talked about. But why is it just tonight? Well, you know it's why. You always get this, a new manager, etc. But it could have happened after Jack Ross. It could have happened for Liam Fox. You've got to feel sorry for Liam Fox. He's sitting watching the game or he's listening to this, sitting going, well, the players have done the same to me as they've done to Jack Ross, but now they're up for it with 12 games to go under Jim Goodwin. So
I remember you saying last week, Craig, you couldn't find any fault with the team, the tactics of Liam Fox in that game last week. It was just the players that didn't deliver. There's a few wee changes today, and I did expect them. Ian Hart's, when he's fit, plays for me all day long. You've got to get legs in the middle of the park, which he's got. Kieran Freeman comes in because he's got that right wing back. He gives you energy up and down the right hand side. Liam Smith got a bit of a tough time last week, as is Biach, because they played a back four, and for me you never play as Biach as a left back again. He's got to be a wing back for me. And they've got that wee bit of solidity, bringing Scott McMahon back in, and they've went with the 3, so that they've kind of tried to make it a bit more solid, a bit more compact, which they've done. Their distances are better. They're off the ball. They're frustrating Aberdeen into maybe longer balls, and in possession they've moved it really quickly. Listen, they've done all the things that you would want a team to do when they're fighting relegation. So fair play to Jim Goodwin coming in, but I would say the players have had to take that on their shoulders and say, this is the time to do it. We've not shown it enough. Listen, get about each other and do it, and to be fair to them, they've done it tonight. Willie Miller, I'm not sure you're going to see your away win this evening given that first half performance.
No, it hasn't been great from Aberdeen, but it has been very spirited from United. I think they have played exceptionally well, and it's been difficult for Aberdeen to get any control of the ball at all, and they haven't at any time shown that they were capable of that in midfield. They've been overrun. They haven't strung any passes together really in midfield. I think defensively they've been not too bad. A bit of a worry is that Fletcher has won everything in the air, and Aberdeen's got two strong and powerful central defenders in McDonald and Pollock, but they haven't really dominated Fletcher up top. The shape is worrying me. I think United's shape is allowing the wing backs to get in the ball and dangerous crosses to come into the box. I think the two Aberdeen wide players are just not used to it. I don't really think they've been coached in how to defend. I know that Duke does not like it. He doesn't want to do it, and he hasn't done it so far. He did it on one occasion, and the shout went up, the Duke shout for the Aberdeen fans, but he's done nothing going forward. On the other side, Duncan has been pretty good. He's worked hard. I think McCrory backing him up. That's where the threat has came from an Aberdeen point of view, but it's still not good enough from Aberdeen. And their away form continues. They're very, very fortunate to still be in the game, in my opinion. Could easily be 2. It could maybe even been 3. Because there's been headers that haven't been defended properly from set pieces from the Dons either. So I think Barry Robson will be feeling a little bit of good fortune at half time. I don't know if he will change it or not. I think there is a case to put forward to change it and go to a back 3 rather than a back 4, and just match up United. It's got to be better from Aberdeen, otherwise you're right, Kenny. I'll be going home for that packet of biscuits underneath my bed tonight again.
It's funny you mentioned the word biscuits. I have to say, I know he'll be listening. And guys, I'm just interested in the reaction from the crowd up there. We could obviously hear the reaction from some Aberdeen fans prior to kick-off, and also just when the half-time whistle went there towards Jim Goodwin. But are the United fans buying into this new-look team this evening under Jim Goodwin?
They've definitely got behind them, Kenny. I did say there was a few empty seats. They filled up near the end of just before kick-off, and they've responded to the fight and the desire that the team's shown them. So they will turn up. They will get back behind the team. And they have, if a team shows them something, they'll back them. And to be fair, they have been inspired a wee bit in terms of by this first half performance.
I think both sets of fans are just kind of been so browbeaten this season that a goal either way is going to cause chaos, isn't it? Because fans are kind of teetering on the brink now. They're on the edge all the time, the Aberdeen and Dundee United fans. They've seen enough. They've had enough this season. So whoever goes behind, if somebody does go behind in this game, I think they're in for a kind of a pretty hostile reception from their own people. But and I'm with Craig on this. I'm seeing lots of edge from Dundee United. I'm seeing hard-working players. I'm seeing guys' concentration levels good, discipline is good. And I'm thinking, okay, where was all this before?
Yeah.
Where was this? Where was this edge? Where was this energy? Where was this work rate? Where was it all? And
it's a sad reflection of the players, isn't it?
Yeah, it ultimately goes back to the players. And the players get managers the sack. Now, sometimes the managers deserve the sack. And I would say, we've seen managers at both these clubs recently who have deserved the sack. But it goes back to the players, and the players would make you sick, when they're kind of putting in half-hearted efforts, and then a new manager comes in, and all of a sudden the same people are putting in really intense performances, and you go, wow, what's going on here? But
Tom, last week you would have been, Jim Goodwin's hardest thing this week. He wouldn't have been getting into any detail and tactics. He wouldn't have been really, really asking for much in terms of that. It'd have been his hardest thing this week would have been picking that team. It'd have been. He's watched the last couple of weeks. He's maybe saw the game last week against Ross County, and it's who do I put in? Who's picked herself from the last game? And I would have said probably the only one with pass marks for last week was Craig Sybil, just because he put a shift in. He ran about. He actually tried to get on the ball. He put tackles in. So that's a worry for me. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, Dean Hart's coming back helps you out. And he has gone for a wee bit. He's gone for legs. He's went for Kane Freeman on that side. He's went for energy. And we've talked about in the commentary about him wanting to work with Jamie McGrath. So that was probably one that you would have expected him coming in there. And the way he's got the shape going, with Ian Hart's brought him in and Jamie McGrath, they're doing a better job brought him in and helping the midfielders and defenders than Ryan Duncan and Duke. And I think that's maybe the difference at the moment, between the two sides.
What needs to change, Willie, in the second half for the Dons? You're not sure about their shape. Is there something you should be looking at half-time? Should it be immediate?
I think it would be hard on young Ryan Duncan to take him off, because he's done as well as anyone out there in the white shirt here tonight. But I would take him off and put Scales on and go to a 3 and just match up with United. Aberdeen have had no control of this game whatsoever. Duke is like a fish out of water out there in the wide area defensively. He's still young as well. I mean, Duke is a youngster too, and I don't think that any part of his game would lead him to think that he needs to do anything back the park, but he does he does tonight. Freeman's got the run of the right hand side where Duke is playing, and he's only made one effort to chase him back, and that has got to change. So I think Barry Robson's got a number of things to think about. It's not been a good first 45 minutes for him. It's a testing time. He is a young manager. He's trying to make his mark in the game. Does he want the job? Listen, if he gets offered the job, he will take that. I think he's got enough confidence in himself to do that. I think at half time he needs to get the thinking cap on. He needs to somehow stop the wide areas of Dundee United. Both their wing backs have been pretty good going forward. They've both put in very, very dangerous crosses. And I think a change is required. Now, he might not go for a personnel change, and he might just stick with it. Because, as I said, Duncan is doing well down the right-hand side, and he had an opportunity, maybe a couple of good opportunities in the box to do better. But he is a youngster again, and I think you're asking a lot of someone of his age to kind of turn this game round in the second half. I think Barry Robson has got that responsibility. It's always a manager's responsibility to look at the first 45. It hasn't went well for them, and to make the changes necessary. So it'll be interesting to see if there is any changes at half time, or if changes happen in the second half.
Yeah, must do better. The message for the Dons. Full second half commentary to come from Tannadice. Let's get back to some reaction from the 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon. Livingston lost 4-1 at home to Hevzat after going ahead thanks to an early strike from Joel Newell. Let's then hear from a very disappointed Livy manager Davy Martindale. He was actually sent to the stands right at the end of that game. He spoke with our reporter Amy Canavan.
Everything that could have went wrong today kind of went wrong. I thought we started the game fairly well. We found ourselves 2-1 down at half time, but I don't think we could have got ourselves out of that situation. I was fairly positive we could get ourselves out of that situation. Bad bit of defending. 2 bits of defending for the 2 goals were fairly poor. Don't think either keeper really had a lot to do in the game. And then obviously we find ourselves down to 10 men, they score their 3rd, and then we find ourselves down to 9 men and they score their 4th. So the goals kind of skew the game slightly in terms of what actually happened in context on the park, but we've got to do better collectively as a defensive unit all over the park, because I thought the goals we gave away today were very, very poor.
Said pre-match that this is perhaps one of the strongest squads you've had at Livingston. Can maybe name 2 starting 11s. Does it just feel that everything's a bit deflated right now after that game?
A little bit. We've not been a great running form of late, but we've had some big opponents, big fixtures. Celtic, Rangers, and Aberdeen away is not an easy fixture. Kilmarnock, you could throw them in there as well. We managed to pick points up in that game, and Hibs at home. So it's been a difficult fixture list, but this was definitely a game that had earmarked to get more from the game. But it's really, really disappointing. It looks like we're going to have lost. We've lost the game today. Poor defending lead us to going in at half time 2-1 down, and we've probably lost 3 players from players that nearly finished the game that were on the park. We lost 3 players from that as well. So Jack Fitzwater through suspension. Ayo Oberlai looks as though he's got a bad one, and me Steph's got a bad one. So it probably couldn't get any worse, if I'm honest, in terms of how the game went against us and what we've ended up with on the park. So we are where we are. I don't know where we are in the league now. I've not really looked. I've not really got any intentions, because for me it's all about refocusing and regrouping and going on to Wednesday night. And I've got a strong squad, so I'm going to probably be missing 3 or 4 players from injuries from today. But I think I've got more than enough in the changing room to get us out of this situation, because we're fighting to stay in the top 6. I think we've probably accumulated enough points just about to probably stave off relegation, but again that could come and bite you quickly very hard as well if you don't start picking points up. But the objective is still there for what we've had the past 6 weeks, to try to get ourselves back into the top 6 and finishing in the top 6, and I think we've got more than enough in the changing room to do that. But everybody for 4th place down's fighting for, there's a lot to play for in terms of some are fighting relegation. Some teams are trying to fight to get in European competition, stay in the top 6, get in the top 6, so there's not a lot between the teams at all. So there's still a lot to play for.
Football from Sports Sound.
Brilliant drop of the shoulder!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Davy Martindale there. Livingston 7th in the table as things stand. Aberdeen just in front of them. The Dons level at goalless at Tannadice this evening, away to Dundee United. Let's go back to our commentary team: Craig Easton, Willie Miller and Liam McLeod.
The second half underway already here at Tannadice as Fletcher moves it out to the left hand side for Bates. United in the tangerine shirts going left to right, down the hill as they like to do in the second half of matches. Aberdeen in their change colours, white jerseys. McCrory's down in the centre circle, no change for either as the long ball comes into the box, beaten away by Horter, who's caught Ramadani. 2 Aberdeen players down. Eventually play does stop. I think they had to stop it after the collision between the goalkeeper and Ilva Ramadani inside the Aberdeen penalty area. McCrory's down, and now Miovski and Duke are going head to head with Edwards and Mulgrew. So Willie Miller's keeping his eye on that one. We're a minute in, just about to the second half.
Yeah.
No changes, as I say, to either team. Willie.
Yeah, they're complaining that McCrory had went down round about the centre circle and Dundee United played on. Listen, it wasn't a head knock. I have no problem with playing on. He's got a little, I don't know what he's got. He's kind of a stretch in his groin, but it was round about his thigh area that he's been hurt. He stayed down, and United played on. For me, they've got every right to play on. I don't think that, you know, if it's a head knock, absolutely, you've got to stop it, but not on that occasion. But I'll tell you what, Horter came right through Ramadani then. That looked a sore one.
Yeah, he's still being worked on just now as the Albania international. His goalkeeper had to come though and help his teammate deal with it there. And Dundee United on this awful run, their only win in the last 9 was against a team of students from Stirling University in the 4th round of the Scottish Cup. They've lost 7 of those 9 matches. And this is worst losing run of the season, and they haven't lost 7 in a row, and that would be the case if they lose this one, since they lost 10 in the spin under Alex Smith in 2000. They did avoid the drop that season at St Mirren's expense, but they didn't even lose 7 in a row the last time they were relegated.
2000, you're saying?
Yeah. Or were you involved in all those games?
I was involved in those relegation battles. Unfortunately, too many, but yeah, I mean, I just remember it was crazy games near the end of the season, and I think, you know, it was really tight going into the last 3 or the last 4, and we managed to stay up. But we had a good squad as well. But
the Dundee United squad you were involved in the kind of mid to late 90s was excellent. The likes of Dodsey and Shell Olofsson. Obviously, you were part of that.
Problem was we sold Dodsey at Christmas and we absolutely dive bombed. Wee man always reminds me about that.
Good result for him today, Cali Thistle.
Great result.
Here United. Anyway, game on again here, and Ramadani is back on the pitch. McCrory seems to be okay too, as Stephen Fletcher picks up, holding it up well against Pollock, and then switches the play out wide left here for Baich, up against McCrory. Baich on the right foot, gets the yard, and then the cross comes in, and Fletcher's header straight at Horter. He's had 4 chances today, Stephen Fletcher, who's United's only real experienced striker at the club now, and he's had 4 bites at it this evening, and he's obviously stretched or overstretched something as he attacked that cross, which was again excellent from Aziz Baich.
Another great cross from Aziz Baich. It's this time on his right foot. He goes down on the left hand side and he chops back onto his right foot. He swings, well, he kind of laces it and just floats it in, and asking Stephen Fletcher to go and attack it. The big man got up well, but he couldn't, you know, he could only direct his header straight to Horter. Thankfully for the Aberdeen goalkeeper, and you know, very sportsman. A good bit of sportsmanship from Horter. They actually put the ball out there. I think a few of the Aberdeen fans weren't happy with that, especially what happened a couple of minutes earlier, Willie. I'm not sure I would have been doing that if I was Horter.
No, there was no need for it. I mean, Stephen Fletcher's okay. I don't know what he did there. I actually thought he should have done better. You know, it was a header, was straight at the goalkeeper, but he was well up, and I think it was Mackenzie was up against as well. They just don't look behind them. They don't defend properly.
There's Aberdeen up the other end. Miovski's inside the box, no real space, and he wins the corner. He's happy enough to settle for that. Aberdeen without a shot and goal yet, on target at least. They've had a couple of attempts, but haven't got into a position where they've tested Mark Birighitti in the United goal as yet. They've got a corner first of the second half, 4.5 minutes into the second half. It remains scoreless. It's going to be an in-swinger from Ryan Duncan as Aberdeen attack the shed end. In it comes from top of Birighitti, who holds on. He's kind of moving.
Well,
he's almost
very-
moonwalking back towards his own goal line there.
Takes it at chest height.
Yes.
You know, that ball is flicked right in about 3-4 yards out from goal. Over. Okay, Chatham will cruise round about and maybe protect him a wee bit. But he takes that chest height. Oof, that's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Virigiti clears, right-footed. He's got it right through to Fletcher, unchallenged, takes it down, finds McGrath at the edge of the box, rolls it wide left, BH will then move it back into Levitt. I'm going to switch the play. Duke isn't going to get there. It's going to just make it to Freeman, who finds Edwards, steps away from Miovski. Here's Harks, out to Freeman. A challenge from McKenzie was decent. It still came through to the box though, and it's Aberdeen able to clear now with Leighton Clarkson. And he has to turn back towards his own goal and passes it back to Matty Pollock almost 6 minutes in. But that long ball from Birigiti has been plucked out of the air by an unchallenged Stephen Fletcher. And the Aberdeen supporters, 3 Aberdeen players, were a few yards away from him, nowhere near getting a touch onto it. Fletcher had all the time in the world to take it down. And here they come again, and they get a man out of position, and that is BH, drives in behind, he's into the penalty area, BH looks up at the goal, across the face, no takers, and it stays Dundee United 0, a ragged Aberdeen 0.
That's incredible, the amount of space has at BH. What we saw it happening, it was asking to be played to him. It was a good ball over the top, and he's really positive as his BH. He drives into the box and he just smashes that across the face of the goal, and there's no one in to connect with it. Listen, there was a few bodies coming in on it, Willie, but
yeah,
you know, Dundee United, a really good attack. But what happened? Aberdeen out of position a wee bit. I think Ross McCrory got caught up the park.
I don't know where Ross McCrory was. He was posted missing, and there was heaps of room down that Aberdeen right side defensive wise. I think Bihich does the right thing. Maybe overhits it a little bit in terms of driving it across the face. I don't think Fletcher's that far away from it. If he'd have got a touch on it, ends up in the back of the net. But it's another big chance for United.
Potentially asking him to pick someone out, but you know, to be honest, one thing in his mind, he's trying to put it into a good area.
Dundee United clear it through Edwards, 7 minutes in. The benches this evening, incidentally, it's 0-0. United still the better side, and for them Newman, Smith, Graham, Niskanen, Hume, Anaku, Fotheringham, Ayina and McLeod, and for Aberdeen it's Lewis, Scales, Markande, Mislevic, Watkins, Hayes, Coulson, Kennedy and Babbage. So the long ball goes all the way out and behind for a Dundee United goal kick. I don't think Barry Robson's going to wait too much longer before looking to that bench. The way this is going,
he's got to make a change. We've been speaking it, you know, just in the half time there between myself and Willie. Is he going to go to that back three? Is he going to maybe try and go a more conventional 4-4-1-1 sort of 4-4-2 formation? But he's definitely got to do something, because there's still far too many balls coming in the box. There's still far too many good areas, and Stephen Fletcher's causing them mayhem. Yeah.
This has been vintage Fletcher. He's never been a prolific goal scorer, Stephen Fletcher.
In terms of his link-up play,
link-up play's always been spot on, hasn't it?
Yeah, his goals, he's not scored as many as he'd like to. He has probably quite a lot of chances to do it, to increase his tally over the games. He's still their top scorer. He's sitting here on 6 goals, but really for a return of Fletcher and how many chances he's had this season, that's probably not good enough, if we're being honest. But in terms of how he is in that target man and holding things up, bringing people into play, he's played that role really well tonight.
You would take that performance every week off him, wouldn't you? There he's away again, wins a ball every time.
He's won, not even joking, he's won every single header tonight. It's flicked towards the Aberdeen box and the Dons clear through McDonald. Ramadani, diving header by McMahon. The United fans claim he was caught there. Aberdeen keep it in play on the right through Ramadani. United with a long ball forward. Cushion header McDonald. Clarkson hooks it out to the right hand side from McCrory, who steps in field towards the centre circle. As we move on to 54 minutes, 0-0. McKenzie back along the halfway line from McCrory. He's out of position again here, and he's lost it. And here's Sibbald in Tangerine to his left. Flicks it with the outside of the boot, but it was just in behind. And Aberdeen have it back with Duncan. Out wide right for Bojan Miovski. They're flooding forward in Aberdeen colours now. Miovski with a side foot towards goal. It is a shot on target, I would imagine, even though it was a pretty meek effort which Birigiti could have thrown his hat on had he been wearing one, and it stays Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0.
It was the wrong decision, wasn't it? I don't really think it was on for him to have the strike from that side of the park. He had a couple of players up with him as well, as Fletcher goes again and wins it.
Ridiculous. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant from his point of view, though.
Let's get the fans going as well.
Yeah, he's starred tonight, that's for sure.
He's been good. And a veteran. Aberdeen won it back in the midfield here, though. And that's great skill by Duncan to ride the challenge and find Ramadani driving towards the Dundee United penalty area. It's Ramadani goes himself and he hits it high over the bar into the empty shed, and it stays Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 0.
And the problem that Dundee United had there was both McMahon and BH are way out of position. They're trying to do too much in that area. The lowest possession, Aberdeen do really well to try and exploit that. It's just the finish that wasn't right. And you know, I think there's some notes getting passed on here. Is that right, Liam?
Well, yeah. You used to see Derek McInnes do this all the time. I don't know if Barry Robson's maybe got that from him, but he's just passed a note to Jack McKenzie, who's given it to Matty Pollock, who's given it to Angus MacDonald, who's not going to get time to read it until after this next move.
There's certain players that I used to play with that you wouldn't give a note to.
Maybe a picture, Willie?
Yeah. Cartoon.
Duke charging down the clearance, and now he's trying to drive in. He's inside the box. Duke! Oh, he scored! What a goal! What a goal by Luis Lopez! Unchallenged down the left. He burned away from Ryan Edwards and then reverses the ball past Mark Birighitti to give Aberdeen an incredible lead here against the league's bottom side. It's magnificent from Duke. Ryan Edwards doesn't know where to look, and it's Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 1.
No, it's absolutely brilliant, isn't it, from Duke? That's why he's a fan favourite, and he has got that in the locker, there's no doubt about it. We haven't seen it at all up until that moment, but down the left hand side, when he gets close to Edwards, you don't want to get close to him, you want to sit off him because he will take you in a foot race, and that's exactly what he did. But then the casualness of the finish, it was absolutely outstanding.
It's like a wee back heel sort of thing. But you know what, Ryan Edwards has the opportunity to clear his lines. The ball could have been up at the halfway line. He doesn't do it. He waits too long. It ends up hitting off.
Wait, sorry. This is ridiculous.
I saw that.
Now there's pyrotechnics going off in the stands, and I know they've been in the headlines recently, but a supporter has thrown one onto the pitch and almost hit Ryan Duncan, who, to be fair to him, he's had a look up at the stand there to just emphasise how close that was to hitting him. You can't do that. Why are they throwing it at the players?
No, it's ridiculous. Absolutely. You know, you got enjoy the goal, celebrate the goal. This is just silly because we're going to have a break here now. But the thing is, going back to that, Ryan Edwards needs to clear his lines. After he doesn't, and Duke gets on the ball and he runs it, well, he's right. Ryan Edwards cannot really do anything. He's got to stand. He's not wanting to commit himself, and now Duke's got him where he wants him. Great bit of skill, brilliant feet, and what a finish. But I tell you what, that note that just got passed on says go and score a goal.
Well, that would be quite the story, wouldn't it? Yeah, I mean, this is obviously, Willie, this is something that's in the modern game just now. I actually think when you see it in the stands, it's difficult not to actually see how much it brings to the atmosphere. But when you start, it is obviously a safety concern in the stands as well. But when you see it being pelted onto the playing surface, I mean, that was probably about 3 or 4 inches away from Ryan Duncan.
It's dangerous. It's like any object, but it's even worse than most objects that gets thrown onto the field of play. You're talking about a live firework here, and you've got to try and stamp it out the game. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there's CCTV all over the grounds nowadays. Surely they can identify the culprit.
Mulgrew moving it back to Birighitti at the edge of the box, and he slices his clearance. Meantime, that is a savage blow for Dundee United, who've been the better team tonight by quite some distance, and yet they find themselves behind as we approach the hour mark.
Do you know what, Liam? They've probably started the second half a better team again. Stephen Fletcher causing problems, bringing people into play, getting attacks on goal. BH is a great effort in terms of, you know, the ball across the box, and then they've gone behind. And it's after so many chances, so much pressure. They've just got to refocus, go back to what they were doing, and just try and get themselves back in this game.
60th minute of the game. It's a big switch for United out to the near side, headed out by Duncan for a throw-in to Dundee United on this near side. That incidentally was Duke's 12th goal of the season, and he's catching Miovski, who's got 17 after his strike against Livingston last week. McGrath on the turn on the near side, the slide from McKenzie, and it's out of play for a throw-in down by the corner flag, and there's frustration for Dundee United. I've just seen a Dundee United official kicking out at the plinth that they put the match ball on for the referee to pick up just as the teams walk out here. He's had a boot out there. That again just emphasises the frustration amongst the Dundee United supporters and staff right now. But it's Aberdeen who have the lead. It's their first goal at Tannadice since Simon Church scored in 2016, as Fletcher bullies McDonald again just at the edge of the Aberdeen box. Shinnie wins it back momentarily. It's now with Sibbald. Jinks away from Duncan, goes down, free kick United at the right angle of the Aberdeen box. We've played an hour at Tannadice, 1-0 to the visitors.
You know, they've got to make something of this free kick, put it in a good area. Jamie McGrath is on the ball, it's got to go in, it's got to test Aberdeen. You know, Dundee United have really got their heads on a lot of the corners, a lot of the free kicks. This has got to go in the area, give them an opportunity to try and get back in this game, because this is where Dundee United have struggled. Anytime they've gone a goal behind, you've seen the body language, you've seen things go wrong with them, and they've just crumbled.
Jamie McGrath over this free kick for United, who are looking to hit back pretty swiftly here. McGrath with a right-footed free kick. Clarkson one-man wall, and it comes. It's a shout for handball from just about every United supporter in the Eddie Thompson stand there as it bounced around about the 6-yard line. United pick up the scraps wide in the left with Mulgrew, poking it forward to BH. He's got Mulgrew still out there. BH rolls it back infield to Levitt, steps away from Duke, has an ambitious effort at goal blocked by Shinnie, and then when it eventually falls to Pollock, he just boots it into the United half with the left foot. 1-0 Aberdeen. Oh, that's a poor header away by Pollock this time. Fletcher, he's got his back to goal at the moment, round about the penalty spot, lays it back to Harkes, but that's a really important challenge by Graham Shinnie on the 18-yard line, although John Beaton's given him a free kick for a foul by Harkes. But Shinnie had to be there, and he was, and it stays Dundee United 0, Aberdeen 1.
It was a fabulous challenge, wasn't it? A little bit hard, I thought, on Harkes to give the free kick against him there. I think, you know, the game's been played in a good spirit, it's been full-blooded, absolutely. I think, you know, applause go to Shinnie for his attitude towards this game, his determination. We know he's got it in spades, but that was so important because it was a decent chance again, wasn't it? Nice little set up from Fletcher too, so the opportunity was there for the strike.
Willie, the Aberdeen supporters, that's what they want to see from their team. If they lose the game, fair enough, but the full-blooded commitment is what they expect, as you know only too well at this club. And under Jim Goodwin, particularly on the road, that was sadly lacking.
It was, you know, but we're seeing it tonight. In fact, we're seeing it from
yellow for the keeper,
both sets of players.
For time wasting.
Just on that attack before, it actually dropped to Jamie McGrath at the edge of the box, and I saw Horter off his line. I thought it was going to dink him. Did you see it? And it ended up going backhand and then laid back to Hart's, who had the shot. You know, it was adjudged to being a tackle on Shinnie. He didn't. He'd kicked Shinnie because he was trying to shoot, and it was an excellent, brave challenge from Graham Shinnie, who's made a couple of them tonight. Him and Sibbald have been excellent in terms of being those sort of midfielders who just do the dirty work, do it simple, do it well, and I've enjoyed watching him tonight. Well, he's smiling because he knows I love that.
It's Dundee United with Craig Sibbald, who moves it back out to that left-hand side, where it is met by McMahon, who finds Mulgrew. Now it's with Edwards, 63 on the clock. There's still plenty time for Dundee United. And Sibbald picks up in the centre circle this time, shifts it to Levitt, and then out to the left-hand side. It is collected by McMahon, down the line for BH, under pressure from McCrory. And a good response to going behind United. They're seeing a lot of the ball in the Aberdeen half here. As Sibbald looks up, they've been the better side, and looking to try and get back into gear here and dust themselves down. That magnificent Duke goal. I mean, the power to hold off Ryan Edwards as he drove towards the goal frame before cleverly reversing it past Birigiti. There's not much the goalkeeper could do about it.
Liam, he only scores spectacular goals, doesn't he, Duke?
He's something else, yeah. And Sibbald for United. And it's just little things like that can make the difference for a team if it's not playing well. To have somebody who's got the majesty to go and do something like that, it can make a profound difference to the outcome of a game. And as it stands, it will do. United still marooned at the bottom of the table. They will be regardless of whether they win this one. And Sibbald moves it into the midfield. Levitt, he's done well to get onto the pass. Now it's forward to McGrath, back to Dylan Levitt. Levitt out to the left-hand side. Now it's with BH. It's away from his man, looks up at the box, chips it into the area. It's headed away by McDonald. Breaks to Sibbald on the follow-up. Now with Freeman. Now Sibbald. He squares it to Levitt. This is an Aberdeen team that picks up precious few clean sheets as McGrath looks for goal. It's blocked easily as he hit from just inside the D. It's a long ball from Ramadani for Duke out wide on the left-hand side. up against Freeman this time. And what can he conjure up here? Left-hand side of the United box. Rolls it back to Ilber Ramadani. Out to the left there, Duncan fires the cross ball in. And under no pressures as is Beach, as he controls in the chest. Spins and takes it out for a run down that left-hand side. Jim Goodwin certainly doesn't need any reminder into the fact that Aberdeen are not the sort of team that can sit back in a lead, will it?
Well, that's what they're doing though just now, and I think their shape's pretty decent actually, but it's maybe not wise for them, you know, considering the amount of goals that they have lost this season. But there's no doubt that they're giving United all the room in the world, and they're hoping to just hitting the break.
Yellow card coming for McMahon. Yet it's a heavy touch from him. Clarkson nicked it off him when he was racing across halfway, and McMahon not rugby tackled him, and that will be a free kick there for Aberdeen. It's a foul a week for the Six Nations, so there's your rugby fix, brought to you by Scott McMahon.
The thing is though, Liam, when you've got the pace up top as well, then if you are sitting in and you win possession, then you know you'd get that out, and he would certainly get you up the park. He definitely does that. Just put it in behind you know, the wing back there, and invite him to go and run at it, because whenever he gets into these areas, whenever the ball looks as though it can be hitting the break, then he's the man that you want to hit. So yeah. I'm not against Aberdeen sitting back like that and making it difficult for United, because you're asking United questions. Are they good enough to open you up? But you're also giving yourself an opportunity, because there's more space to hit in the break. They
certainly look more capable of sitting in a lead with McDonald and Pollock in there.
Yeah.
We'll get to Brian McLaughlin for some changes in just a moment. Aberdeen with a free kick long into the United half, just to the left hand side of the box. Shinnie wins it back off Harks, and now it's with Duke. Level with the 18, rolls it back to Ramadani, bends the cross ball in. It's too high for everyone. Goal kick United, 1-0 to Aberdeen. We'll get to Craig in just a second. I know he wants to come in. Double change for Aberdeen by the looks of things, Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, there's a couple of changes going to be made. In fact, just before the goal was scored, I'm pretty sure that Barry Robson was considering these changes, but coming on will be coming off will be number 23, Ryan Duncan. He'll be replaced by Johnny Hayes. There will be another change as well. Liam Scales is definitely coming on. He's been ready. He was actually ready before Johnny Hayes. The player being replaced will be number 18, Matty Pollock.
Okay, it's interesting.
I think Pollock's injured. I think he's injured. He's struggling.
But I think they were also looking at McCrory, because he was down with cramp just then. And I think they were asking him how he was as well, because and listen, all joking aside, I think the note that got passed on might have been to tell Ross McCrory to stop bombing forward, because they were getting, just before the goal, he's bombing away forward and they get caught a couple of times in that area. He doesn't need to now. He can sit and look all he says.
I'm just seeing Pollock now. He's limping pretty heavily off. Liam Scales free of suspension, comes on. He was part of the side that lost 4-0 here back in October. Aberdeen's heaviest defeat in this fixture for over 20 years. It was, but they're 1-0 up here as Clarkson picks up the loose ball in the midfield, but he's lost out to Sibbald. Shinnie trying to win it back off Fletcher. Ramadani doing likewise against McGrath, and he's done well. Then Clarkson nips it out to McDonald over on that right hand side. 1-0 to Aberdeen here on Sportsound, BBC Radio Scotland, 810 medium wave, extra, online, on digital. Duke with the goal, 1-0 it is. Foul on Sibbald this time as it broke down for Aberdeen, who've struggled by and large in the game, but they find themselves ahead in the final quarter of it.
The goal changes games, and you now look at the way it is. Well, he's right, they've got a really good shape, Aberdeen. They're asking Dundee United to come and break them down. They're going to try and catch them on the break. Like you're saying, Duke's just picked up a ball as well. Can he come and run at people? That's going to be the game, I think, for the remainder of the half, for the remainder of the 90 minutes.
And he's won a throw in down here, and it's good from Duke. I thought he was going to have to surely pass the ball back the way there. Let's get some news of some United changes with Brian.
Yeah, they're not quite ready yet to come on, Liam, but yeah, there is going to be a couple of changes. Sadat's going to be coming on, as is Arnaud Djoum. Still deciding down here exactly who's going to be coming off, but the two changes are going to be made. Sadat and Arnaud Djoum are the two players who are coming on.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be too many long odds on Ian Harks. Brian, by the looks of things, he's on the deck. So I think Harks, who's just back from injury after a month out, as we approach the final 20 minutes here at Tannadice. So here come the changes. Harks off, Sadat Anaku comes on. And Arnaud Djoum, the experienced Cameroon international, wearing the number 10, is on for United for the final 20 minutes plus injury time.
Not a surprise at Hearts. I mean, he was always going to give you everything he had. He's done that for a good part of this game, and just the last 20 minutes is maybe a wee bit too much. I'm feeling a wee bit of camp, but you know what, he's put in his usual unbelievable amount of work rate.
Now, yeah, Graham Shinney's been fouled by Fletcher, and Freeman has booted the ball off Shinney's head. Duke then went chasing after him. Yellow card for Freeman. Free kick to Aberdeen, a couple of yards from the near side touchline, about midway inside the Dundee United half. United 0, Aberdeen 1.
I think when you get yourself in front in a game that you've largely been under pressure and created very few chances, then I think it's nature actually just to go into that defensive kind of a shape that Aberdeen have went into, and you know, they do have pace up front. They've got an intelligent striker in Majowski as well, so I think you just rely on these two on the break.
Clarkson takes the free kick, headed away by Fletcher. I'll say away, it's actually been headed back towards his keeper. A happy accident, it ends up in the gloves of Birigiti, who bowls it out to his compatriot BH over on that left hand side. It's an early ball to Sadat down that left hand side, up against Jack McKenzie. McKenzie over on the right hand side. The Aberdeen defence here. It is United with Djoum knocking it out to the left flank. It was for BH, but it's actually broken for McGrath. 3 in Tangerine in the middle. The cross is cut out. It's actually still in play for BH. Put some good balls in tonight. He's taking it for a run to the left angle of the box. Rolls it back to McMahon. Back down the line for McGrath. Looking for Djoum, but one back by Majowski. Shinney's touch.
That's a penalty.
Sadat goes down. Penalty United. It's a ridiculous challenge. And Dundee United have a route back into a level playing field here at Tannadice. John Beaton points to the spot.
United worked something down that left hand side. Aberdeen didn't really get a hold of it when it broke to them. Then, you know, I think there was a ball into Sadat, and it wasn't a great touch. It's just weird. Who was it?
McKenzie.
Was it McKenzie? McKenzie in it, an incredibly rash, yeah, that's exactly the word. A rash challenge inside his own box, and there was no doubt in that.
There's no doubt.
You know,
There's no doubt.
Took a bit longer than I thought to get it, actually.
I think he was looking at a line. He wasn't 100% sure that it was inside the box, but my opinion, it was inside the box and definitely.
Yeah, it's Jamie McGrath who scored a penalty down at this end last time against Aberdeen. He scores this one, right footed, sends Horta the wrong way, pumps his fist in celebration in front of the Eddie Thompson stand, and the league's bottom side bite back against Aberdeen here at Tannadice. It is now United 1, Dons 1.
Loads of pressure on that penalty, but Jamie McGrath didn't show it. Stepped up, confidently stroked it to the right hand side of Jay Horter in the Aberdeen goal. Dundee United back in the game, and do you know what? They probably deserve it in terms of how much they've put into this game and how many chances they've had. But Aberdeen let them in. It's a ridiculous challenge. You don't need to do that. You stand up. You don't need to save yourself. You don't need to go and charge in there. But you know what? Dundee United back in the game, and game on again.
They deserve it though. They've put a lot into the game, Craig, haven't they? You know, they've been a better team, created you know, the majority of chances as well. You know, a bit of brilliance from Duke at Aberdeen into the lead. You then think, well, they're playing with a head that's nice and calm, and then young McKenzie goes into that challenge on the edge of the box as well. No need for it whatsoever, but it allows United to get back into the game, get the leveller, and they do deserve it, but you know, too rash from McKenzie. Absolutely.
Once again, Aberdeen struggling to keep clean sheets. Can't do it on the road. This is another example of it. Regardless of how it came, Dundee United back on level terms. Huge game for them under their new manager, their third manager of the season. As Clarkson looks for Duke down the left, up the other end. Duke's level with the 6-yard line. Just over 15 to go. Duke goes down. He tried to hit the byline and get behind a couple of defenders. He almost succeeded. I think he slipped.
He nutmegged Edwards, and then Edwards got back to him, and he just uses his body, and he does slip with him in the end there, because it's quite soft down at that bottom corner. But once he stands you up and gets you in the box, it's really dangerous. You don't want to touch him. You need to get close to him, but you can't get too close to him.
Be interesting to see what the final 15 minutes are like here, because this is a United team that's been sapped of all kinds of confidence recently, and now they're back on terms. They've got a point sitting there. What do they do now? Do they look for the other 2 points that would come with another goal? Or is it more important not to lose this one from a losing position? Brian can bring us news of an Aberdeen change.
Yeah, Bojan Majowski's evening is going to be over very soon. Marley Watkins is stripped and ready to come on, Liam.
A regular substitute for Barry Robson since he took interim charge. Of course, knows his fixture so well. Barry Robson played and scored for both teams in it. As McKenzie picks up on the near side, forward to Duke, heavy touch, Zoom, then to Levitt, now Fletcher, now Sadat. He's on his own at the moment.
Pace.
He's on his own though. Scales does enough just before he was able to get it into his stride.
If I'm Sadat and Aku there, I'm running. I'm hitting the ball ahead of me 5-10 yards, and I'm asking Angus MacDonald to go and chase me, because I tell you what, he's got pace.
Big 15 minutes or so in terms of the season, not just tonight. In particular for Dundee United, you feel, given their plight at the bottom of the league. There's Shinnie out to Clarkson on the near side. It's the ball into the box. Majowski is being slightly held there by McMahon. As United clear. And now it's Fletcher in the midfield with a cushion header to the United goal scorer McGrath. He's got a really good goal scoring record against Aberdeen. As McCrory was nutmegged on the far side by Baich, brings him down. Professional foul, yellow card for McCrory, free kick to Dundee United. Ross McCrory has looked uncomfortable from the first whistle of this game of football.
But he's brought him down through embarrassment because he's been nutmegged. Baich is, you know, he's done everything right there. He's got the ball under control. McCrory coming out, stands square to him, opens his leg, puts it through his leg, brings him down to the ground, deserves a yellow card.
Baich has given him a torrid time tonight, actually.
Yeah, the system's worked. As McGrath flights the free kick to the switch to the right hand side of the box, and then it's bobbling and bouncing around. Eventually McDonald sees it behind for an Aberdeen goal kick.
Do you know what,
13 minutes to play, 1-1.
It's really good to see Angus MacDonald back on a football pitch. I played with Angus down at Torquay United. He was a young kid. He came in on loan from Reading, and you know, he's been through a lot with cancer and stuff. It's just brilliant to see him in a football shirt running about, and testament to his will to come back, and his work ethic and his professionalism, which I could see even at a young age back then.
Yeah, and of course we saw Kevin McDonald in a Dundee United strip last season. He's back playing down south as Horter clears after his kidney transplant. It's great to see, and as Craig says, Angus MacDonald battled cancer a few years back, and he's out there, and he certainly looks as though he's been he's added some solidity to that so soft Aberdeen defence. That McGrath penalty, the 52nd goal that they've conceded in the Premiership this season. That's 6 worse than their total goals against column last season. Still they haven't made the change, Aberdeen. Watkins waits on the sidelines as Scales knocks it out to Hayes on the near side. 12 of the 90 left, one apiece. Hayes down the line for the Aberdeen goal scorer. Duke can't control Freeman's challenge, and it goes out for a throw in to the visitors on this near side. Shinnie takes it quickly. Stick or twist time, Willie, what do you think?
Well, it's probably the most control of the game that Aberdeen have had, you know, since United got that equaliser. So
what does that tell you?
Well, it tells you, I think they had settled, you know, when they got the first goal. That's for sure. I think they were under so much pressure in the first half that United were just a better team. But they've turned it round a little bit. They're beginning to gain control. And, you know, for United, they've got to try to get themselves back in it if they want to feel. I think 3 points is required for United. If they could get a three points tonight, what a boost that would be for them.
The massive. But you're right, well, they have changed the shape as well, Aberdeen. They've gone to that back three. And I think that just has given them a little bit more stability, certainly in terms of getting, you know, stopping crosses.
Trip to Aberdeen come forward, and in the box it's smashed into the net by Ross McCrory from absolutely nowhere. Aberdeen picked up on the left hand side of the United box, pulled back to just right to the penalty spot, and it's been lashed into the net past Birighitti, and the visitors have their lead back. Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 2.
And that change of shape has worked, you know, really well by getting Ross McCrory forward there into the box, and he finishes, buries it really.
It's a striker
expertly
finish,
well, isn't it? Is it his left foot as well?
Foot, head over the ball,
his left foot. Clarkson does great down this left-hand side. Superb cutback. low, right across the face of the goal. Two the United players getting each other way when Clarkson hits the byline. And there's McCrory at the back post to slot it home. Excellent finish from the wing back.
From a United point of view, it looked far too easy laying him down in that bottom corner. It just looked too easy. And to be fair to Leighton Clarkson, I don't think he's really had much impact in this game today. Well, it's passed him by a lot of times. It's been a lot of battling in there. I don't think that's his game. He's not really that type of player. But down in that area, when he got a bit of time, and he got far too much time, by the way, he goes down the byline, cuts it back, excellent cut back, and like you say, the finish is brilliant.
He's got a great pass on him in the final third, Leighton Clarkson. He's on loan from Liverpool, and he's made the desired impact there. The Watkins change has been binned off, by the way. He's got the tracksuit back on.
It's horrible when it
final
happens.
10 minutes.
I've had that a few times.
Again, it's another savage blow for United, having been presented with the opportunity to level the match, which they did through the McGrath penalty, to find themselves behind not too long after that into the final 10 minutes here. And Ross McCrory smashing that home. He's not had a good game by any stretch of the imagination, Ross McCrory. It's not going to matter if Aberdeen win this game 2-1.
No, but I think you've got to give credit to Barry Robson. Changes the shape, it allows McCrory to get forward. I think, is it too late in the game?
Sadat for United up the other end, and he smashes it for goal, and it's held on to low effort and is near post by Jay Horter. Well, it's going to be some climax to this one, I'll tell you that much. 9 minutes plus stoppages remaining. Marley Watkins is back in his feet. The change is being reheated down below us as Birigiti clears it. Header from McMahon, knocked forward by Levitt. It's blocked. Breaks the way of Arno Zoom. He goes across the halfway line, forward towards Sadat. He's done well. He shrugs off one. He's been faced by Ramadani. Back out to BH on the left. Looping ball in. Fletcher wins his latest header, but he's put that one over the crossbar. They just cannot deal with Stephen Fletcher, these Aberdeen defenders, as Miovski prepares to take his leave of absence and will be replaced by Marley Watkins. 8 minutes left. United 1, Aberdeen 2.
That time Fletcher rises above Scales and Mackenzie at the back post. He couldn't direct his header. He's had a couple of these. He maybe should have done better with some of them. But Aberdeen don't want to sit back anymore, Willie. You know what I mean? The last wee bit, they want to keep playing. They want to, because the last time when they sat back, it gave Dundee United a lot of the ball. It gives them a lot of chances to get in and around the Aberdeen box. Ultimately, that's where the penalty came from. So really, the last thing they want to do is let's sit too deep in the last what we got, Liam, 5-10. What are we down to 5 minutes?
No, a bit more
8
than
minutes.
that. Yeah, a bit more than that. About 7.5 of the 90.
You've got to just keep playing, stay in the front foot, win the second balls, try and play in Dundee United's final third. Make them defend.
Duke for Shinnie. Plays it first time. Watkins gives chase.
Like that.
Strong play by Watkins against Edwards. No foul. It's Clarkson. Back to Watkins. Shoots. Scores! Fabulous goal by Marley Watkins, who curls it past Birigiti into the far corner. Dundee United have played well tonight at Tannadice, but they're going to be on the receiving end of a 7th successive defeat now, surely. Wonderful finish by Aberdeen's forgotten man, Marley Watkins, and it's Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 3.
Oh, he's just on the park as well. Is it his first touch? To me, it looks like his first touch. It might not be, but it was certainly, if it's not his first, maybe his second. But what is Ryan Edwards thinking about? He gets himself into a position where, against Clarkson, he goes down, there's no contact, there's no foul. He's favourite to win the ball. Why does he turn off like that? That has been United's issues of recent games, isn't it? He then gives Clarkson the opportunity to set up. Who's he set up? Watkins, and Watkins, a brilliant finish, isn't it, from Watkins? Just gets it onto that right foot, picks his spot at the back post and curls it into it. But dearie me, some terrible defending from Ryan Edwards, I'm afraid.
Well, this is unravelled big time for United. It's the Aberdeen supporters here who are celebrating as Fletcher nods it back. This might not be quite over yet. McGrath, brilliant save. Horter, how's he kept that one out? McGrath and Levitt both holding their head in their hands down below us as McGrath attacked it. Horter keeps it out, and it stays 3-1 Aberdeen.
Fletcher again the target, knocks it down into the path of McGrath, who takes a touch and maybe should just lash it.
Here's BH, chips the ball into the area, flicked away by Duke, only as far as Zoom. who volleys it high over the bar, and it stays Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 3. Marley Watkins' first goal since Saturday the 4th of December 2021.
Incredible. I don't know what to say to that, really, Liam. It's an important one today, but going back to that one, you've got Jamie McGrath go and just smash that, you know, make it a really interesting last couple of minutes, because it was a great opportunity. He controlled it really well. Go and finish, go and score the goal and make it, you know, a really tense finish.
And the Aberdeen supporters taking great delight in taunting Jim Goodwin down below us. They're right on top of the new Dundee United manager. Here's Sadat crossing in, looking for Fletcher, flicked over for a corner by Liam Scales. The high fives from Jay Horter, who's pulled off a couple of really important saves tonight.
It's 3-1, Willie, and we've just looking at it again, and there's another really good ball in the box and asking Aberdeen to defend, and there's saves, there's missed chances from Dundee United. It's certainly not a 3-1 for me. It's bad defending, and that's how you end up with a 3-1. But the passages of play, it doesn't.
Yeah, McGrath takes the corner into the box, flicked away by Scales, who scored here at Tannadice last season for Celtic. Smith Mulgrew's effort from the cross is cut out by McCrory and out for a throw-in on the far side. 86 on the clock now. Aberdeen with a 2-goal cushion going into these closing stages. And it's a brilliant finish from Watkins. The 3 Aberdeen goals have been exquisite. They've scored some terrific goals this season. It's been a dark season generally for them. They've scored some howitzers across the campaign. As it breaks to Bates, and he moves it all the way back to his goalkeepers. Barry Robson encourages his players forward. I tell you what, Willie, 3,000 Aberdeen supporters here. If they sold the shed, they would have probably sold that out as well. And considering Aberdeen's woes on the road over the last couple of years, that is seriously impressive. There's already a terrific away support, but right now, when what they've been served up regularly over the last couple of years, it's equally, if not more, impressive.
Absolutely. I think you take this performance, and I'm sure they'll be hoping, as well as Barry Robson will be hoping, that away form has turned round tonight. Listen, for long parts of this game it didn't look as though it was going to turn round, but and Dundee United take a lot of credit for that, but you've got to give a lot of credit to Aberdeen as well, and you know, that character that's been lacking away from home, I think has certainly been shown here tonight. And to go away from this game after the pummeling that they took in the first half with a 3-1 victory is a magnificent turnaround for them.
Indeed, it finishes that misunderstanding between Freeman and Hume. McKenzie, he'll be the most relieved man inside Tannadice. Aberdeen see out these final minutes after his rash challenge allowed United the chance to level from the penalty spot. But Aberdeen are close now to their first away victory since the 22nd of October. And we're in March.
Liam, for Aberdeen's horrendous away form, my friend's an Aberdeen fan, and he said that at every away game they've sold out their allocation of tickets. Like you said, they filled that shed here today.
Oh, yeah.
It's an incredible away support.
Watkins' header goes out for a United throw-in down on this near side. Marley Watkins scoring there, he'll have enjoyed that. He was in Siberia under Jim Goodwin. Barely got a kick. And it's his goal that has meant that the Aberdeen supporters have not got a stressful end to this match. It's United pick up over on the far side. They're at Livingston next. That's their next game in a couple of weeks. Another team who's on a dreadful run of form just now. Beaten 4-1 by Hibs earlier today. Long ball, Mulgrew looking for Fletcher, won by Scales, and now even Stephen Fletcher's not winning headers. It's completely turned against the home team. Johnny Hayes with a long ball looking for Watkins. Mulgrew's underneath it, bobbles back towards the halfway line where Edwards hoists it forward. Hayes is underneath it. So we approach minute 90 here at Tannadice. United 1, Aberdeen 3. Clarkson wins it back with the help of Ramadani. And there's Hume hacking away at him and giving away the free kick. And a free kick to the visitors to the right of the centre circle. We're in the final minute of the 90. Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 3.
It's been a cracking game of football, though. I think the fans that have turned up here tonight in their numbers, although the United fans obviously leaving now, they'll be disappointed. But I think they can take a lot from the performance, whether it'll be, you know, solace enough for them.
I don't think so,
the position that they're in, it won't be.
No.
You know, the position that they're in. Yeah, the position that they're in. You know, they needed the 3 points tonight. They played well enough for large parts of this game that gave us the indication that they could take the 3 points tonight, and yet they find themselves 3-1 down going into the burning embers of this match.
Playing well and losing isn't going to. You're right, well, they have played well, they've showed fight, they've showed determination, they've showed things that they weren't shown in recent weeks, but playing well and losing with the way things are at this football club is not good enough. And
6 minutes added, by the way, and we're into the first of those.
And they won't be happy with that. They're not delighted with Jim Goodwin as an appointment. So this result, it's just going to fuel flames of more discontent in the stands and behind the scenes.
Try to play for a throw in. Aberdeen are up the pitch here, level with the United 6-yard line. Now they'd love to score a fourth, having taken 4 themselves here in October. Throw in here, level with the penalty spot. Johnny Hayes bowls it to Duke, who scored their first goal. His 12th of the season. He's lost out on this occasion though. And Hayes with a bit of a late challenge. It looks as though Dylan Levitt's taking a sore one. He's back on his feet now as United come forward down the left with McMahon midway inside the Aberdeen half. Low ball forward here for Sadat, finds Zoom and then turns it out to Kieran Freeman on the near side. Looks up, right foot bending the ball into the penalty area. Chance for Bates at the back end of the area, and he lashes it high over the bar, and it will stay Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 3. That goes in. It could have been a dramatic 5 minutes that are left of the stoppages. It remains though Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 3.
Didn't get his head over it. It was a half volley, wasn't it? The back post came to him quite quickly. Didn't control his shot. But yeah, it could have been interesting the last 5 minutes of injury time. As it is, Aberdeen just trying to run the clock down a wee bit, just making a few substitutions as well, another substitution as well.
Yeah, Duke will come off, replaced by Hayden Coulson. And Duke gets his traditional reception from the Aberdeen supporters who've grown to love him this season. There's not been much to love about Aberdeen this season, Willie, on the road certainly, but Luis Lopez has certainly lit the place up, and he did so again tonight.
Listen, they've got firepower, Aberdeen. They've got Majowski as well, and 17 goals. And how much was it for Duke? Did
that's
you say
12.
Earlier? 12. Yeah. That's a potent strike force. So they have got that ammunition. Most of the stuff I've watched at home, Liam, I've been quite excited about the team, but away from home they've had a soft centre. They haven't had that. They haven't shown that tonight. They've shown a lot of grit and determination. I think Graham Shinney makes a big difference to it, in the midfield.
I think Angus MacDonald and Matty Pollock have made a big difference as well, haven't they?
Absolutely.
They're more
but
assured.
Shinney knows what the club's all about. Yeah. Shinney knows what to do. He knows when to put pressure on the referee. He knows when to go into challenges. He knows when to show the fans that it means a lot to them. I think that is really important, particularly on the road.
Craig Easton just did that thing with his arm there. It gives you dig. It's exactly what you were.
Exactly
that was you.
Yeah. You know what? I've enjoyed watching Graham Shinney tonight. He's been really good. He's read the play well, and well, he's right. He's just a clever player. He's experienced. He knows when to do the right things. Good decisions on the ball, out of possession. But what I will say, Willie, is I thought Duke worked hard in the second half. He was much better defensively.
No, absolutely. It's not the strongest part. We saw that in the first half of his game. We also saw in the second half the strong part of his game as well. His pace, his strength and his class. He's got quality in front of goal.
And Scales missed that. Is that gone for a corner or a goal kick? He's got the slightest touch on it, Liam Scales. It is a United corner. 2.5 of the 6 minutes that were added or left.
But here's the problem, William. How many balls have been in the Dundee United box and you've got Stephen Fletcher as your goal threat? Who's the other goal threat? Who's your other striker? Yeah. So that's come on, but who's your other striker that's really going to give you those goals? Well, he's just named 2 people in double figures. Dundee United haven't got one.
McGrath takes the corner towards the back post. Scales heads it behind for another. Yeah, they don't have enough firepower. They had a couple of irons in the fire in January, and there were reports that Marley Watkins was one of them, and he's gone and driven a dagger into them tonight in Aberdeen colours.
Not exactly a goal scorer though, Liam. You know what I mean? You need someone, a striker that's going to give you some goals, and they just never had the money there, I don't think, for him.
Corner comes in and cleared by Aberdeen up towards the halfway line. Must be a lonely old place for Jim Goodwin at the edge of his technical area, arms folded down there, nothing he can do. The team he was managing 5 weeks ago today lost his job. As BH crosses into the Aberdeen box again, and the header wide by Ryan Edwards. who turns away in frustration, and it will stay Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 3.
Again, it's a good opportunity. It's a very decent opportunity. You're only talking about 10 yards out there perhaps, and he's got a free header at it as well, and when you can't put it in between the 3 white poles there, then that's a big issue, isn't it, when you get chances like that?
Got to put it in target, Willie, at least, and that's been a problem today for Dundee United. If it has been on target, it's not had enough power in it. Most of them haven't been on target. There's been plenty of balls in that box to attack.
And Jack McKenzie under pressure from Sadat elects to put it out for the throw-in.
See, the problem isn't at this end. Well, listen, it's at both ends. You can't score goals, and really you've saw Dundee United's defending. That's been indicative of the season in terms of they've not been scoring enough. They've been giving away soft goals.
Well, that's them themselves conceded 51 this season.
Is that it now?
Aberdeen 50, in fact 50, is it 52?
Yeah,
52-3 tonight, 52. It's the same as Aberdeen.
52,
yeah. There's Bates on the left hand side of the box, final few seconds, gets another cross in, away by Scales. Freeman wins the header, and then it's volleyed away up into the air by Hayes. The closing seconds of the game though, and the Aberdeen supporters will celebrate one more time in about 10 seconds when John Beaton blows for full time. Here's Hayes, brought to the ground by June. Aberdeen's next game is against Hearts. They'll look forward to that now, because they've ended a run of 9 successive defeats on the road in some style in the end here in the city of Discovery. They'd only discovered pain and misery in away games, in matches away from Pittodrie over the last few months. But they have come out on top here, and at times it was difficult for them. United played well tonight, much better than what we saw in Liam Fox's final game in Dingwall last weekend. This was much more like it for United, but they didn't take their chances, and they've been made to pay big time as some of the Aberdeen players embraced Jim Goodwin down there. He wasn't unpopular in the changing room. By the end, he very much was amongst the Aberdeen supporters, who are acclaiming their heroes down there. A goalless first half, which saw United miss a glaring chance through Stephen Fletcher inside 2 minutes. He had another 2 or 3 attempts in that first half. Edwards tested Horter, who saved, and Bates was a constant threat down the left-hand side with his cross balls. But Aberdeen held on to half-time at 0-0 as Horter comes over to this near side to conduct the Aberdeen fans. The new signings have certainly made a difference. He made some terrific saves tonight, including from Fletcher inside those opening stages of the game. Duke broke the deadlock on 56. Wonderful run down the left. Got goal side of Edwards, burned away from the United skipper before reversing it past Virigiti to give Aberdeen the lead. A lead which would be cancelled out on 73 by a Jamie McGrath penalty after a rash challenge by Jack McKenzie in the box. But Aberdeen scored twice in the final 11 minutes in a 4-minute spell. Clarkson got to the byline down the left-hand side of the box, fired it back across, and McCrory did likewise into the bottom left corner to make it 2-1 and give the Dons their lead back before Watkins ensured the points. Would be making the short trip back up the A90 tonight on 83. He'd just come off the bench, danced into the area and unleashed a terrific curling effort into the reverse corner of the net to ensure that after 9 successive defeats away from Pittodrie, these Aberdeen supporters, 3,000 of them inside Tannadice tonight, finally have a victory on the road to enjoy. And perhaps now they've managed to breach that psychological barrier and make a concerted push for European football next season. Against their old boss, would you believe? Jim Goodwin tastes defeat in his first game as Dundee United manager against the team who sacked him 5 weeks ago. It finished here. Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 3.
The Scottish Premiership.